Secret's out. LSN is giant lizard monster. I suppose there's no point in hiding it. I should let you all know that I've been cast in the next MonsterVerse Godzilla movie. But I can't tell you whether I'm going to be fighting Godzilla or teaming up with him. Certain details have to remain secret until the trailer drop. And now you've also spoiled my ultimate weapon. Godzilla's got his laser breath. I've got boring nerd stuff. Well, buckle yourselves in, because today you're the ones getting killed by my boring nerd stuff. This is the Metroid review stream. I'm going to review and rate every Metroid game, asterisk. I have a therapy couch for Godzilla. No, he has to lie on the floor. With them back spikes, he'd destroy the couch. This is the wrong nerddom to be talking about today. Today is for Metroid. About the asterisk that I put there. There are 14 Metroid games, not counting stuff like Smash Bros. Or she's showed up in some Kirby games and stuff, Samus has. There's 14 games in the series. There are 3 that I am not going to be covering as part of this review. The original NES Metroid and the Game Boy follow-up Metroid 2 Return of Samus are not being covered because they have been remade in superior form. There is not a lot of point in talking about them except for like historical reference at this point. The third Metroid game that I am not going to be covering is Metroid Prime Pinball, because it's pinball. And also because it's simply a retelling of the Metroid Prime storyline, whereas all of the other games that I'm covering are unique stories. So that gives us 11 games. I'm going to start from the bottom, work my way up to the top, talk about each game and why I put it where I did and what's good about it, what's bad about it, and what I think could be done to fix it if necessary. In order of the timeline, I should say, the reason that I feel confident enough in giving this review of every game is that I played them all leading up to release of Metroid Dread. I played them in timeline order of the story rather than like release order or whatever. So the order of the timeline goes Zero Mission, Prime, Prime Hunters, Prime 2 Echoes, Prime 3 Corruption, Prime Federation Force, Samus Returns, the remake, Super Metroid, Other M, Fusion, and finally Dread. The most recent Metroid game is the latest and thus far last one in the series. I played every single one of them in that order fairly recently, since the announcement of Metroid Dread, and they really didn't give us a huge amount of wait time considering the usual AAA games industry practice of reveal that game is going to exist, then nothing, then cinematic trailer, then nothing, then 1 minute of gameplay, then nothing. 5 years later, it comes out and it's full of bugs. No, Nintendo doesn't do that. Except for Metroid Prime. Alright. So as I do this review, I'm also going to be playing the first game that I mentioned on that list, Metroid Zero Mission. This is the remake of the original Metroid. It was released in 2004. The original Metroid was 1986, the year before I was born. And I'm going to play it. It'll take a few hours. I'm not going to get 100% completion because Shine Spark puzzles are a pain in the ass. But I'm just gonna roll into it. Hopefully everything is set up correctly and works. Looks like it's working. Pretty straightforward. Remember when video game plots used to be straightforward? Go to planet, eliminate Metroid, blow up brain. Okay. Am I going to be playing them all? Not for this. I'm just going to be playing Zero Mission. These are two old files here. I think they're both complete files, so you can see that this is not like 100% complete, but these are saves at like the end game, and then there's like the final boss and escape sequence, so you can see that that's about the length of a stream. Let's start game. I'm just gonna play on normal mode. Planet Zebus. I called this place home once in peaceful times, long before evil haunted the caverns below. Now I shall finally tell the tale of my first battle here, my so-called Zero Mission. I really love the art style of this game, like the deep black shadows. Reminds me of Mike Mignola's art, the guy who does Hellboy. Alright, game start and also review start. Number 11. On the list. I spoiled it in a tweet, it's not Other M. Other M is not the worst Metroid game. The worst Metroid game is Metroid Prime Hunters. This is the second game, timeline-wise, in the Metroid Prime series. I believe it's the third game released. It's 2006. So yeah, well, okay. Technically, it's the fourth Metroid Prime game after Pinball. It was not made by Retro Studios, the creators of the mainline Metroid Prime series, which are all really great games. But it was heavily inspired by them, but it was made by another team sort of in their image. The plot of this game is that the Galactic Federation receives a mysterious transmission from deep space saying that ultimate power resides within the Limbic System. So Samus travels to the Limbic System in search of this power, but a bunch of other evil bounty hunters are also on their way following the same transmission. So she zips about between a few different planets, I think 4 planets, within the system. And on each one she fights 2 bosses, collects 2 things, and also beats up some evil bounty hunters and takes their weapons. It's not a bad setup, really. Why is it bad? Why is it 11th on the list, the very last place? So, this game was made with a heavy emphasis on multiplayer. So all of these cool new bounty hunter characters, they each have a unique weapon. Like Samus has her regular power beam and then her missiles as like an alt fire mode. And then she has her morph ball as like an evasive thing. And all the other bounty hunters work on like a similar premise. They have their basic weapon, they have their alt fire mode, their charged shot, and they have basically a morph ball. Weird that morph ball is so common. So rather than turning these characters into fun and unique boss fights, they're all just kind of the same. They don't have like interesting unique attacks, with one exception, sort of. They just kind of run around a room. It's basically like Quake or something. Just like an arena-based multiplayer shooter. And they turned that into a single-player game, and it was not super interesting. As for actual boss fights, there are 3. There is like a totem pole sort of thing. There's like a floating energy sphere kind of thing. And you fight each of those 4 times. And then there's the end boss, who does have a couple of phases. It's kind of an interesting fight. You've got to like use all your different weapons and stuff. But due to the limitations of the 3DS, it's a lot of really samey looking rooms separated by a lot of extremely uninteresting corridors which are only there to cover up loading times. And it kind of looks like butt. I don't want to hold that against it too much, but, you know. Did I say 3DS? It's not even the 3DS. This was way back in, like, OG DS days. But all of that could be forgiven, you know, and still make a decent, interesting game, except for the fact that it is controlled with the touchscreen. It is a first-person shooter controlled with the DS touchscreen. So you've got to use your finger or the stylus constantly to control where Samus is aiming while moving with the stick and holding the thing with, like, your other hand. It's not good. It's really bad. It's uncomfortable to hold for an extended period of time. It's not super precise. And it's just bad. See, this is the thing about everybody who says that Other M is such a terrible game. Like, you probably didn't play the fucking touchpad-controlled FPS Metroid, did you? So there's not a whole lot else to say about it. It was just a really sort of uninspired experience. There was sort of a time where it felt like they were trying to tack multiplayer onto Metroid. You know, this is a point when, like, Halo was really popular and, like, other multiplayer shooters were really popular, Call of Duty and stuff. So I guess maybe Nintendo was trying to capitalize on that market, and so they thought, well, we have sort of a shooter. Why don't we... God damn. I don't want to die to this first guy. Come on. Okay, let's be patient. One thing that I will say about Prime Hunters is, as I mentioned, it was not made by Retro Studios, the guys who made the excellent Metroid Prime series. But pretty much every idea that was actually interesting for Metroid Prime Hunters was redone in Metroid Prime 3 and done much better. So it's cool that we did get, like, sort of a good version of the game. in Metroid Prime 3 Corruption. Alright, I just want to finish killing this guy before I... Oh, he's leaving. He peaced out. Alright, I was gonna say that I was gonna kill him before I moved on to the next game, but... let's keep going. Number 10 on the list, Metroid Prime Federation Force. Yes, this is a mainline Metroid game. Yes, it is part of the Metroid Prime series. No, it's not worse than Prime Hunters, but yes, it is very bad. This is, once again, an attempt to turn Metroid into a multiplayer shooter franchise. Or, like, to have a side franchise in, like, the same way that they have Mario Kart and Mario Party. They thought, well, maybe Metroid can be our multiplayer shooter. And, you know, no guarantee that they won't try it again. Considering that they've done it twice now, and also, like, a really tacked-on multiplayer mode for Prime 2. So the story of this game is, first of all, that you don't play as Samus, which is, you know, enough for a lot of people to immediately walk away from it, and I don't super blame them. Rather, it focuses on the Federation Force, which is part of the Galactic Federation military, which is using experimental mech suits. So you are one of these mech pilots. You run around, you go on missions. It's very mission-based. There's no actual connected overworld or anything like that. It's intended for 4 players. You can change up your loadouts. There's, like, different sort of sub-weapons that you can have, like missiles or super missiles are 2 of them. Or there's, like, the fire weapon, the electric weapon, and these different weapons do have very Metroid-y uses within the missions. So, like, you can use the fire weapon to melt ice and access secrets, or you can use the electric weapon to disable machinery and stuff. But mostly, it's just a team-based shooter, squad-based shooter. It's not touch-controlled, rather, it is gyro-controlled, using the 3DS gyro controls, which is still very bad, not as frustrating as the touch controls. Because at least you can hold on to the thing with both hands, instead of having to use one to hold the stylus, or touch the screen or whatever. And although gyro controls are kind of legendarily twitchy, not super reliable, they're precise enough that you can, like, aim at something in a general sense and then just use the gyro controls to, like, make slight corrections. And one of the problems that I had with playing this game, though, that made me really hate it, is that I didn't have 3 friends to play with, which is very much how the game is designed. There are options to play through the story by yourself, as a solo player. The game is not at all balanced around it. You can have up to 3 little drones that follow you around to replace other players, and they do add to your firepower a bit. It's better to have them than not. But, like, the number of enemies, the health of the enemies, that's all still as is for, like, a 4-player game as for single player. I remember that there was one mission... Okay, I will say this in favor of the game. One thing that sets it apart, or sets it above Prime Hunters, is that there is a little bit of gameplay variety to it. You have, like, retrieval missions, defeat all the enemy type missions. escort missions, straight up just get to the end of the level type things. So it was kind of interesting that they had that variety. It was, if they didn't, if they were like all one type of mission, if they were just all defeat the enemies or all get to the end, it would have been really dull. Having said that, some of the missions that they came up with are a real pain in the ass playing single player. One mission in particular that really stuck out to me as the worst one. You're infiltrating a space pirate facility. You need to get 3... I forget what they actually are. They're keys. You need to get 3 keys and bring them back to your dropship. The keys are scattered throughout the level, and they're like little robot thingies, little drones or something. So when you approach them, they will run away from you, and you have to shoot them to stun them and then go and pick them up. When you pick them up and start carrying them, you cannot shoot. You can just run around, you can drop them to fight, which you'll need to do because there are many invisible enemies that will spawn once you pick one of these things up and start randomly attacking you. But in order to fight them, you have to drop the key, and once you drop the key, it will... come on. It will reactivate and run away back to its original position. So you have, as soon as you get attacked, you have to drop the key, immediately shoot it to stun it while you're being attacked, quickly defeat the enemies, pick the key up before it reanimates, and then keep going. And you have to do this 3 times. And there's a few other missions that were, like, similarly troublesome. Like, there's a couple of defense missions where you need to stop enemies from attacking a certain whatever. And it seems, I don't know this for sure, but it seems to me like there was a quote-unquote mercy system programmed into the game, where if there's a lot of enemies on the screen at any given time, only a certain number of them will actually focus and attack you, and the rest would normally just kind of strafe and circle around. But because there is another target in the form of this mission-critical MacGuffin, power generator or whatever, while you're fighting the 2 or 3 enemies that are actually focusing you down, the other 2 or 3 enemies are off destroying your mission objective. And there is an item that you can take in your loadout that will mitigate this. It's like a little Samus decoy that pisses off space pirates and they attack it mindlessly. But you can only have so many of them, they only absorb so much damage, and again, it seems like there's a maximum number of enemies that will attack them at a given time. So like if there's 3 enemies on you, 3 enemies on your decoy, but 2 more enemies in the room, the 2 more enemies are just going to keep attacking your objective. So the game was really stressful and not very fun to play for that reason. Really just those few specific missions that were not at all catered to solo play. Some of the just more mundane, get to the end of the level or defeat all enemies type missions were fine, kind of uninspired, but like competent on a basic level, you know? But those few troublesome missions combined with the forced use of motion controls really brings the game down. I haven't played it multiplayer the way that it's intended, so it's possible that if I did, I would end up liking it more. Maybe it is like really well balanced for multiplayer, and that's just an experience that I didn't get, but I ain't gonna fire it up again to find out. I'll just play a good Metroid game. Or like a good squad-based shooter. They're a dime a dozen. All the way to the end. Got it. Okay. So that's the first 2 games on the list down. I will say that those are the two bad ones. Every other game on this list is a good game that I liked a lot. And I feel that I need to say that because I'm about to say that number 9 on this list, the 9th best Metroid game, is everybody's darling Super Metroid. Yeah, it's way down there. And there's a strong chance that somebody will listen to this and get extremely angry at me. To them I will say, too bad my opinions are objectively correct on this matter. So, the plot and premise of Super Metroid. It's basically a direct follow-up to this game that I'm playing now, or rather to the original version of this game, the original Metroid. Samus returns to planet Zebes, the space pirates have rebuilt their forces, all of the bad guys that she blew up the first time are back, and once again, they have a whole bunch of Metroids and they're going to start using them for general crime and villainy. Samus has to put an end to it. At here. Let's save. I'm very distracted while I'm playing this, so there's a chance that I will die, so I want to make sure that I'm saving regularly. Right, one particular wrinkle in Super Metroid that differentiates it from... Ah, yes, I need something else. That differentiates it from the original Metroid, other than the fact that it's now on the Super Nintendo instead of the NES, and, you know, it's bigger, it's got more enemies, more upgrades, more everything, is that in Metroid 2, when Samus went to exterminate the Metroids on their home world, she retrieved an infant Metroid, henceforth known as the Baby, and she returned it to the Galactic Federation for study. But the space pirates have abducted that baby Metroid and are using it to clone up an army of Metroids with which to conquer the galaxy. And this ends up, by the way, spoilers for every Metroid game in this review, if that wasn't obvious. This ends up, at the end of the game, with Samus reaching Mother Brain and seemingly defeating her before she unveils a little upgrade that she's made to herself, and is about to use this to kill Samus. There is no possible way to defeat her, unless there's a glitch or something possible, I don't know. When the baby Metroid, now giant and mutated, recognizing Samus, having imprinted on her, which is how she was able to safely retrieve it in the first place, the infant Metroid shows up, drains energy from Mother Brain, restores Samus's energy, saves her, really heartwarming, and then immediately gets killed by Mother Brain. All of this taking place not through, like, a pre-rendered cutscene or anything like that. Those didn't exist yet. This is the Super Nintendo. It all happened, like, in gameplay. Like, you would try to fight Mother Brain's upgraded form, but it wasn't possible. None of your attacks do anything to her. And her weapons just absolutely wreck you. To the point that Samus can't even stand up anymore. Let's see... Am I doing this wrong? Yeah, I think I need to go through that other room with all the platforms. Super Metroid is widely regarded as an extremely good game. Correct. Certainly for its time. And even to this day, it holds up pretty well. I agree, sort of. The thing that holds it back, that is making it such a low rating on my list here, is that the controls just don't hold up. Samus is very floaty in her jumps. There's like a separate run button that you have to hold down to go faster or to use her speed booster. And overall, it's just got like a very slow, very kind of floaty feel to it. And that's all stuff that's present like from minute 1 of the game. Later upgrades are even worse. Like, the grapple beam barely works. The space jump doesn't. Like, it's very unreliable. It's based on how much momentum Samus currently has, whether you're able to activate the space jump. And as an item that is necessary to complete the game, it's really, really disappointing, like, how poorly it actually works. I think I need to go up something. Bye. Additionally, the game seems to sort of be designed that you're gonna just get hit constantly and need to be killing enemies to replenish your health. And there's nothing inherently bad about that. But, like, it feels like a lot of the hits that you take are simply unavoidable. And I prefer games where you feel like you at least could have avoided an attack. Or, like, sometimes you'll just stand and take a hit because you just want to, like, stand and keep firing and just defeat the enemy faster, whereas avoiding their shots will actually take longer. And that's, like, a valid calculation to make. It's sort of a reward for being diligent about finding energy tanks, right? You can just tank enemies and not have to worry too much about it. Back at me ship! So yeah, that's the main thing to me that's bringing Super Metroid down, is just the controls. I would say that it's not... Maybe it's not quite to the point where Super Metroid needs an update, but like, every 2D Metroid that was made after it controls so much better. And for a game that is otherwise really good, like, it's got excellent atmosphere, the boss fights are really fun, the graphics are pretty great, even for, like, Super Nintendo days. And there's a lot of truly memorable moments and music tracks. And it's just a shame that a game that's so good in all those different ways gets brought down by being, like, slow and floaty and the space jump don't work right. And I think a lot of the people who are still heralding it as, like, the best Metroid game, the standard against which all Metroid games should be judged, are really wearing some, like, hardcore nostalgia goggles. Either that or, like... Okay, here's a disclaimer. My first Metroid game was Metroid Prime. Super Metroid is something that I went back and played after the fact, when I was in high school. So, like, I didn't play it as a kid who can spend, like, 8 hours a day just playing this game and mastering the controls and memorizing where everything is in the game. Because here's another thing, the map in Super Metroid, not super useful. It, like, shows you the size and location of rooms, and it shows, like, a little dot if there's an upgrade, but it doesn't tell you, like, where to go next. And some people say, oh, that's the appeal. But no, modern Metroid games will put little markers on the map, like, you know, oh, here's a missile door, here's a plasma beam door. So even without directly telling you where to go, you can still check your map, see what areas you can access because you just got a new upgrade, and then you can go and explore those areas, and if you explore them all, eventually you'll find the way through. Like this game, if you've been noticing, as I'm activating these Chozo statues, they're putting this little marker on my map and telling me this is your next destination, right? But even so, I still have to go off of the beaten path and, like, find how to get to that little blinking orange dot. And I feel like that is also a good compromise for letting you explore and also, like, not just forcing you to spend your entire childhood memorizing the map of the game. So yeah, those are all the reasons why Super Metroid, despite being a good Metroid game, is actually pretty low on the list. It is actually the worst of the good Metroid games, simply because of the controls and the unhelpful map. The Kraid fight was still cool, though. Alright. Oh, can't go this way yet. Shouldn't go this way yet. Next on the list. I'm looking at my notes. I don't have my numbering memorized. Number 8. Released in 2002 alongside Metroid Prime. It was a simultaneous release. Metroid Fusion for the Game Boy Advance. It is the game, the 2D Metroid that came before the one that I'm playing right now. This is built on the same engine, but with like a handful of improvements here and there. The premise of Metroid Fusion, which takes place in the timeline after Super Metroid, is that the Metroids are extinct. Samus fixed all that, and she's kind of moving on to other missions. She escorts a research team to the homeworld of the Metroids to explore the other life forms that are present there. I tried to hit that guy with an ice missile, which is a thing that doesn't exist in this game, but it does exist in Metroid Dread. While she is on that planet, she and the research team are attacked by a previously unknown life form. Let's see what's through this door first. It is a sort of gelatinous yellow parasite that flies towards you, latches onto you, enters your body, absorbs your DNA, and then either takes over your body or eats you from the inside out and then creates a mutated version of you elsewhere. The games are a little inconsistent over which they do, or can they do both. They're the Thing. They're the Thing from the movie The Thing. Which, honestly, is really interesting. It was revealed in the course of Metroid Fusion that the reason these X-parasites are so prevalent on the Metroid homeworld now is that the Metroids were actually their only predator. And once Samus killed all the Metroids, the X started reproducing wildly and have taken over the whole planet. After being infected by the X, Samus's life is saved by a vaccine made from Metroid DNA, which alters her own DNA and allows her to absorb the X as the Metroids do, making her the only being in the universe that is immune to them, and therefore the only being in the universe that can fight them and stop them from taking over everything. Because they don't just absorb your body, they also absorb all of your memories, and if they absorb intelligent species, like humans or whatever, then it's pretty easy to see how they could... Oh, I missed an upgrade. Well, too bad. Taking over intelligent species like humans and gaining the use of all of their technology, therefore, it'd be easy to see how a species that is predicated only on reproduction and taking over other species' bodies would be a problem. Oop, missed. This is going to be a pain in the ass, isn't it? Ah! I'll get this, you watch. Metroid Fusion was really ahead of its time because it sort of took a middle ground between modern conversations that A, vaccines save your life, and B, vaccines change your DNA and mutate you. Also, as I said, this game came out 2002. It is considered Metroid 4. It is, like, half of all Metroid games, more than, are just side games. There are exactly 5 that are considered like the main story. Part 4 came out in 2002, Part 5 just came out this year. So I don't want to hear any fucking belly aching from you Animal Crossing people that are like, Nintendo didn't release a giant free update for Animal Crossing in like 3 months. Fuck off. Ain't got no sympathy for that. Alright, where am I going? Kraid. I want to fight Kraid. Alright. So let's talk about Metroid Fusion and why it is where it is on this list. One of the main complaints that a lot of people have about it is that, unlike previous Metroid games, it is very linear. It is almost mission-based, not to the same extent that Federation Force is, where it's literally picking missions off a menu. There is like an overworld that you move between different areas and so forth. But it is very much, go here, do this, come back, go here, do this, come back, etc., etc. And it does lock you out, for most of the game, of exploring different areas while you're on one of these missions. Compared to past Metroid games, or also current Metroid games, where you're typically given free reign, and if the game is going to restrict you from going somewhere, it'll do that by limiting your upgrades. Like, yeah, you can go here if you want, but you're going to need to get the fucking lizard exploder to explode this lizard, otherwise you ain't getting past him. Lizard Exploder is my favorite upgrade in the Metroid series. Do I remember correctly? I do not remember correctly. How do I get down? In the next room. Right. So, that sort of extreme linearity does hold it back a little bit. Because even if it weren't for, like, the mission structure, the game would still limit you based on what upgrades you have. Like, those limitations are in place, because there's, like, 7 areas in the game, there's a hub, and, like, 6 different theme zones. And you sort of go to one at a time. But each area, the first time you explore it, does have things that you can't get yet. Like, there'll be super missile doors, or, like, enemies that block hallways and can only be defeated with more powerful weapons, or, you know, whatever. Typical Metroid stuff. That stuff's all there. So rather than literally locking you out of all these areas when you're not going on a mission there, they could just let you go wherever, but you can't progress in the game until you go to the marker on your map. But I think what they were going for is that this was a Metroid game on a handheld device. And Nintendo's, like, philosophy with that is that, like, oh, handheld devices, you play these on car trips, or while you're in an elevator, or something. Like, you don't want to get really into this game. You want to be able to pick it up, make a little bit of progress, put it back down. And there is some validity to that. Shit. I know that on the Nintendo Switch, which is both a console and a handheld, I definitely do enjoy the category of game where I can, like, pick it up, play it for a few minutes, put it back down, just whenever I have a little bit of time, rather than, like, having to, you know, boot up the whole game, go through, like, a whole menu screen, select my file, end up in the middle of some task, get half of it done, and then have to stop, you know? Not meant to go this way yet. Probably could go this way yet, but I'll just look for the intended path. So yeah, that's the main thing that drags it down. As I said before, every game on this list, other than those bottom two, is a good Metroid game. And Metroid Fusion is a good Metroid game. It's a lot of fun. Because of the fact, or rather justified by the fact, that Samus's suit and DNA have been altered as a result of the X infestation and the subsequent Metroid vaccine, she has a lot of new upgrades. So, like, she used to have missiles and super missiles as, like, two distinct weapons that track ammo separately, but in this game, the super missiles are just an upgrade to her existing missiles. And she usually has the Ice Beam, which you can see me using now. But they say, you know, oh, because of your Metroid DNA and Metroids being vulnerable to cold temperatures, you can't use the Ice Beam now. That would hurt you every time you fired it. So instead we've got Ice Missiles. It's like a separate system that won't interfere with you. And of course they also heavily redesigned her power suit, which is actually not something super unusual in and of itself. They changed her suit design at least slightly for every Metroid game. I also kind of like the justification that how you restore health and missiles, almost said health and mana, is when you defeat enemies, the X-parasites that are infesting them are set loose and they try to fly away, but you can grab them, and because you feed on them like a Metroid does, it restores your health or your missiles. I kind of like that explanation more than, like, enemies drop purple orbs. Purple orbs restore your health. Well, I do kind of enjoy that they put just a little bit more thought into it than that. Am I back in this same room that I can't do anything in? I am. So, guess I could try this door. Yeah, I don't have too much else to say about Metroid Fusion. So, moving on. Just checking my ranking again, as I suspected. Number 7 on the list, Metroid Zero Mission. This game right here. I don't need to say what Metroid Zero Mission is about because I let you watch the opening cutscene. Fuck it, I'll say it anyway. The space pirates have Metroids. We don't like that. Go get them. Kill Metroids. Blow up Brain. A reminder, of course, that this was... No, not this. No, not that either. Wait, where the... Guess I need to go back to that room at the top? Is that a thing I can do? Yes. Metroid Zero Mission is, as I said, the remake of the original Metroid game. The original Metroid game was highly limited by being on the NES, a game console with less power than a wristwatch, modern wristwatch. Could probably play it on your microwave. I don't believe in, like, remaking every game under the sun. I do prefer to get new games. But the original Metroid definitely needed it. Okay, come on. There we go. I'm used to the Metroid Dread wall jump controls, which are smooth as butter. And although not as terrible as the Super Metroid wall jump controls, wall jump in this is not Spectacular. Don't have jump ball yet. Alright, so I'm supposed to use this to get across here, but I bet. Yeah, there we go. Nope! This will result in my death. I lost my train of thought because I'm at a loss as to where to go. Maybe up there. I'll figure it out. Game's not that big. In addition to the entirety of the original game, Zero Mission also adds a whole bunch of stuff. Like, you remember that big ugly eyeball worm that I fought twice? That's a new boss. That guy wasn't an OG Metroid. OG Metroid just had Tiny Kraid, Tiny Ridley, who looks like a weird three-eyed alien, and Mother Brain. Only 3 bosses. Oh, wait. This is what I'm supposed to do. Okay. I know where I'm going now. Whew. Yeah, this game added a whole bunch of new bosses, some new areas, new upgrades, bringing it, like, on par with Super Metroid in terms of what was available. And as you will see later, also added, like, a whole new section of the game. Whoopsie doopsie. There we go. Made it. I made that jump. Nobody can say I didn't. So, the reason that I rank this Metroid game above Metroid Fusion is pretty much what I explained about the way that Metroid Fusion sends you on missions. This game, on the other hand, does give you a marker on your map to let you know where you're supposed to go next, but you have to figure out how to get there on your own. And I feel like that's the sweet spot for Metroidvania games. You have to give the player some indication of where it is they're trying to get to. Like what it is they're trying to accomplish in the short and the long term. Otherwise, they don't know what your game is, and that's bad. But at the same time, although it's not inherently bad... Oh, gotta fight another giant worm. Right, okay, I remember what I'm doing now. There we go. Alright. Oop. Oh, I thought he was doing something different. He's gonna do a different attack in a minute here. There we go. This is what I thought he was about to do. I am running low on missiles. Whoop! Whew. Ah, shit. Oh, that's bad. That's a problem for me! Okay. That's fine. Oh, I can just hit him with regular shots. I don't even need to be charging. That makes this a lot easier. Oop. Good thing I found that extra E-tank. Okay, so we know why Zero Mission ranks above Fusion. Why does it not rank higher on the list then? Primarily, once again, it's just sort of a limit of its age. It's kind of a short game. Super Metroid Fusion and Zero Mission are all like 4 hours long if you're trying to get everything. If you're trying to get everything and you have no clue what you're doing, then a little bit longer than that, but pretty short by modern standards. I think modern standards for a game is like, for a Metroid game anyway, is about 10 hours. I feel like that's sort of a good sweet spot to aim for these games. But Fusion and Zero Mission were both made for handheld consoles, so again, it's the sort of thing that you like pick up, play for a little bit, put down until the next time that you have to ride a bus somewhere. Or at least that was the thought. And Super Metroid, of course, was pretty much just limited by the technology that was available. So that's the main reason that these 3 games, and Metroid Zero Mission in particular, don't rank higher on the list. They are all good. But now, my friends, now it's time to start making some more controversial opinions. Those of you familiar with the Metroid series may have noticed that I have not yet made mention of a certain game, a certain infamous entry into this series, Metroid Other M. Well, the reason I haven't mentioned it is because it wasn't on the list until now. Number 6, Metroid Other M. Yes, it's above Super Metroid. It's not the worst Metroid game. It's dead middle. It's dead middle of the grounds. Everybody who says it's the worst one is wrong. And also, a bad person. No, I'm exaggerating. Metroid Other M. The plot of this game, it takes place between Super Metroid and Metroid Fusion, and is meant to serve as kind of a bridge between those two games, but also intended to be the first game that shows Samus as a person, as opposed to a gun that the character controls. And although it's true that Samus has had some like non-verbal character development in past games, for example, in even as far back as Metroid 2, you know, a black and white Game Boy game, we see she's on a mission to destroy every Metroid. She spares the last one because it's a little baby, a little babu, and also because it appears to not view her as an enemy. So she chooses not to kill it, instead spares it and brings it in to serve as a research subject. So that is non-verbal character development. Like, you don't necessarily need to get fucking demolished by this weird crab. Oh, he's fast! I didn't think he was that fast! I'm low on health all of a sudden. But yes, Other M was going to have a fully voiced Samus, which is a first for the series. And it was also going to be the first third-person 3D Metroid game. There's been 3D Metroid games in the Prime series, but those are first-person. This is going to be a mishmash between 2D and 3D Metroid. It's going to be a third branch of Metroid. A fourth, if you count bad multiplayer shooters. Which I don't. What do we got here? Save room. The story of the game is that Samus is out wandering the galaxy. As I said with Fusion, like after Super Metroid, she's kind of just like, well, I did my thing, I guess I'll just go do whatever now. She gets a distress beacon coming from a space station called the Bottle Ship. There's a lot of imagery in this game. Some of it is not subtle. I need to get in above. Yeah. Woo! Actually, yeah, give me that health. Kinda got wrecked by those giant crabs. Once she arrives at the ship, she finds that it is largely abandoned, with the exception of a squad of Federation Marines, led by her former commanding officer, Adam Malkovich, who is a character who was introduced in Metroid Fusion, which comes after this game in the timeline. An item I don't know how to use. And Adam basically says, alright, you can come on this mission with us, but if you're gonna help us out, you have to be under my command, because I got a job to do here. Samus agrees to this, and off they go to figure out what happened on this ship. Everybody hates this game, except me, and like 2 other people. Why do people hate it? A lot of reasons. Some people do not like the controls. They find it kind of difficult to maneuver around in a full 3 dimensions while also shooting enemies. It's not like a twin-stick shooter, where you move with one stick, shoot with the other stick. You move with one stick, and Samus will shoot at any enemy in her line of sight, starting with the nearest one. So it's got a little bit of an auto-aim thing going on. You just have to point her in the right direction, and she'll take care of the details. In order to use missiles, you have to switch to first-person view. The way that this works is the game is controlled... This is a Wii game, incidentally, I should mention. So already kind of a controversial console for some people, feeling that it was a casual sort of thing. You hold a Wiimote sideways without use of the nunchuck. So this isn't a twin-stick shooter, this isn't even a single-stick shooter. You gotta move in 3 dimensions with the D-pad. I can understand why people may not like that. For me, I never found it to be a problem. It took like a few minutes of getting used to, and then it's fine. It actually controls really well, all things considered. In order to use missiles, you switch to the first person, as I said. You do this by putting the Wiimote in one hand, pointing it at the screen, and as you make that swap, it will switch to a first-person view. Oh, is there a save room nearby, and like a recharge or something? That's the eyeball boss. That's the boss eyeball. It's an eyeball that lets you know that there's a boss nearby. This isn't a save room. This is a go-back room. I don't want to go back. I want to fight the boss. I just want to save first. Well, I guess I'm going to fight the boss. Let me get some more thoughts out before I do that. What else do people hate about it? The story, the voice acting, the characters. You know, the game. People feel that Samus comes off, very wooden, very... unresponsive in her dialogue. They also feel that Samus is a lone wolf bounty hunter and she shouldn't... Oh god! It's the splash screen I drew! It's me! It's me, but I shaved and I'm not wearing my glasses. Guess that's why I can't see to just fucking swat Samus off of this little platform here. Fuck off, Kraid. Owie. Does he only shoot? Oh no, I remember. Kraid's pretty easy in this one. Mostly because the controls aren't bad. And in defeating him, his soul goes into the statue and opens it or something? I don't know. Look, why does he have You have a belly button. Do you ever get stuff stuck in your belly button, like lint? Well, if you were the size of a building, you'd get much bigger stuff stuck in your belly button, such as spikes. Spike platforms. Don't question it. It's Kraid. It's Kraid. It's what he do. Fun fact, just completely tangential from everything I was talking about before. The Metroid series is well known for allowing sequence breaking, meaning that although the game sort of intends for you to go on a certain set path through it, it is possible to break that sequence, or sequence break, if you will, and go to areas early, get stuff that you shouldn't have yet, and fuck everything up as a result. It's one of the things that people really love about Metroid, in fact. There we go. Is there more up to go? Yes, there is. Sequence breaking I was talking about. Right, I got distracted by the belly button thing again. If you sequence break in this game and pick up the Varia suit early, which changes Samus's color to a darker orange, and then do that Kraid fight in the little cutscene where Samus kind of stands in front of him and like, oh, it's Kraid, she will actually have the correct coloration. Just a fun little detail, fun little trick that you can do. Which is interesting, because Metroid Dread, again, there's spoilers for every Metroid game, I don't want to hear about it. Metroid Dread also has a Kraid fight, and you can also sequence break to get a little special secret in that. It's kind of a fun callback to this game, as well as a fun callback to Kraid in general. Back to Other M. People didn't like that notorious lone wolf Samus was putting herself under the command of another character that they said was very wooden, Adam Malkovich. Samus don't take orders from nobody, they said. And in particular, while every Metroid game, with very few exceptions, has Samus lose all of her upgrades from the previous game and start off from nothing, they usually don't explain why that is. Occasionally, they will sort of explain it. Shite. I don't have the patience to figure this out. What you're supposed to do is put a bomb there, and then another bomb, so that the first bomb triggers the thing, and the second bomb shoots you up onto that thing, so it catches you in ball form, so that you can go over these platforms and then drop down onto that missile. I don't need that missile. There's other missiles. Where am I fucking going? There's a whole bunch of rooms down there that I didn't explore. There might be energy tanks. I'll go take a quick look. Oh wait, I don't have the fucking jump though. It's gonna be hard to get in there. Never mind, it's easy. The justification in Other M is that Adam tells Samus to deactivate all of her upgrades because they don't want to risk damaging the ship while they are looking for possible survivors. The most glaring example of this coming into play is that Samus goes to a lava area and doesn't activate her Don't Die in Lava upgrade. She has to wait for Adam to tell her what to do. And people say that this is taking away Samus's agency as an independent character. And probably the most glaring story issue that people have is the Ridley fight. There's a Ridley fight in this game, and usually that's awesome. But in this Ridley fight, Samus has a momentary sort of crisis of character, where she goes into a PTSD freakout over seeing Ridley, because in case you didn't know, Ridley killed Samus's parents and also all of the other people at her colony when she was 3. That's Samus's backstory. And people said, that doesn't make sense, because Samus has blown up Ridley like 100 times. Happy Metroid Day to you as well, I'm the Possum. So there's no reason that Samus should be freaking out at this Ridley. Look, there he is right now. Samus isn't freaking out. I mean, I guess we don't know. He's in space and Samus is on the planet. She could be freaking out right now. Did you freak out, Samus? Did you freak out on that elevator? We'll never know. So yeah, people had a lot of issues with it. Here's my counter-argument to all of that. In regards to Samus having like a wooden, emotionless performance, yeah, kind of. Yeah, kind of. I don't blame the actress, I blame the direction that she was given. In terms of Samus never putting herself under the command of somebody else, she does it all the time. She's a bounty hunter. By definition, she is taking jobs for other people and therefore putting herself under their command. It's not that she doesn't put herself under other people's command, it's that if she thinks that they're fucking with her, she'll turn against them and do what she thinks is right instead. And she does do that in this game. There comes a point where she becomes unsure whether Adam is on the up and up or if he is trying to do something shady, so she goes off on her own, stops reporting to him, and starts activating upgrades when she feels like it. Or when she needs them, rather. I guess I'm just going back to Norfair. Okay. As for the Various Suit incident specifically, this is actually an issue with the localization of the game. In the North American release, okay, so here's the setup. Samus gets to the lava zone. She doesn't activate her thing, so she's just kind of constantly taking damage. Just kind of dashing between save rooms where she can refill her health. But just always getting chip damage from the ambient heat. Until she gets to a boss fight with some kind of lava demon. And only when that boss fight is about to really get going, after like an escape sequence up an exploding volcano, does Adam chime in on comms and say, "Samus, activate your Various Suit." What is apparently more clear in the original Japanese is that when Adam makes that call, it's not just, "Samus, activate your Various Suit," it's, "Samus, what are you doing? Activate your Various Suit!" Because what's going on is, due to the past relationship she has with Adam, where she basically considers that at one point he gave a bad order that she disagreed with, and that she felt like she couldn't obey, although she didn't. We don't need to get into it. He gave an order that she felt was bad, that she felt she couldn't obey, and that's when she sort of parted ways with him. So what she's doing is like kind of passive-aggressively like, Okay, you're the boss. If you say, don't activate my upgrade, I will wait for your order. She's being really kind of stubborn. As kind of like thumbing her nose at him, like, I don't need the goddamn lava upgrade. I lose it on half my missions anyway. I think I'm going the right way. I could be wrong. It might be over to the right there. I went the wrong way. It's alright. It's Metroid, it happens. And there's like other incidents of that happening as well. Apparently the whole bounty hunter identity that Samus has is sort of a mistranslation. She's actually more of like a pseudo-freelance galactic police officer kind of thing. Not exactly a police officer, because like, she's not giving out traffic tickets. She is a bounty hunter, and that, you know, a criminal or a monster or whatever has a bounty on it issued by the Galactic Federation, but she's part of that Federation. She's not like some lone wolf. She works for them pretty much directly. But like, it's a mistranslation thing going all the way back to the original Metroid instruction manual, where I believe the more literal translation is something like Space Hunter. But the localization team was just like, that sounds dumb. People like Boba Fett. She's a bounty hunter. And it stuck. You know, it's too late to change it now. To the point that even in the Japanese games, they're leaning more into that identity. And in regards to the scene with Ridley, people's biggest complaint about Samus's depiction. What is happening is Samus is having a not unrealistic PTSD reaction to Ridley. Because her backstory is that Ridley led a space pirate raid on her planet of birth, killing her parents and everybody else that she knew. There is a canon Metroid manga, which was never officially translated into English, but there is a decent fan translation if you care to look it up, which explains all of this and shows all of those events. And the first time that she encounters Ridley, even after going through all of her warrior training and so forth, she has a similar reaction. She, like, freezes up. Her oh, can't go that way yet. Her power suit disappears because it's like a magical girl kind of thing where she... Anyways, don't need to go into that. And she kind of needs to be saved by other characters, which is something that also happens in Other M. Oh, I need to... Super duper? No, I can't super duper. I don't have room. I don't have room to super duper. Where the hell do I go then? Go anywhere else? I don't think. Can't freeze that guy. Something? I'm trying to have a conversation with myself. I'm missing a lot of things. So the problem here is that Western audience, Metroid has always been more popular in North America than it is in Japan. That's pretty much been universal. And Western audiences, almost nobody has read that manga that explains all of that, and yet Other M assumes that you are familiar, because Adam Malkovich is also in that manga. Okay. Do I have to just go through the superheated area? Do I just have to pull another M? Or wait, I got high jump. Okay. That's on me. I was spin jumping instead of stationary jumping. Stationary jump gets you a little more height in this game. To do your gravity grab. Oop. Okay, here's something that I like about Metroid Zero Mission, is that it's very much like an alien biosphere that you're kind of trying to make your way through. Like, there's just this giant bug. This giant bug is going to be important later. You'll see. Remember that giant bug. It's important. Yeah, so Western audiences didn't know about the Ridley 8 parents PTSD thing. They didn't know that Samus freaking out in his presence is something that has happened previously. There is precedent for that. And also, Other M is very much... It's very Japanese. It's like a Japanese team trying to make an American-style story. And if you're not used to that sort of thing, like if you don't consume other Japanese media, I can absolutely understand how it would come off as, like, very unnatural and very sort of jarring in its delivery. And that's even before you get to, like, the kind of iffy localization that the game got. As for why Samus would have her PTSD freak out when in previous games she didn't, in previous games she didn't have any reaction to anything, first of all. But in order to actually justify it, hold on, I need water, let me fucking pause here. I've been talking for a long time already. I'm gonna lose my voice tomorrow. What I chalk it up to is the actual circumstances that Samus finds herself in this game, where she's coming off of the loss of the baby Metroid, which she clearly felt very strongly about, to the point that, like, in the cutscenes, at the start of the game, like, where Samus is just kind of in her ship drifting aimlessly through space, like, you can tell that she's pretty depressed. And also, like, the fact that she is, hello, Bustin' Daily Talon, I don't care to decipher that Roman numerals. I can tell that you're a Metroid fan. Welcome to the Metroid review. We've gotten to the part where I piss everybody off. I'm talking about how Other M is better than Super Metroid. What was I saying? Yeah, you can tell that Samus is in, like, a very, sort of precarious emotional state, and the presence of Adam, like another character from her past, sort of puts her back into, like, an earlier state of mind where she hasn't worked through all of her issues, and, like, she thought that Ridley was dead once and for all following Super Metroid. Which is justified in Super Metroid. Okay, I'm gonna go on a thing here. I need to pause to do this. In, Super Metroid. Kraid, who also shows up in a later game, when you beat him, like, there's little explosion effects, and he sinks down into the floor. Okay? Ridley, when you beat Ridley, he has little explosion effects, and then his head and legs and tail fall off. Ridley's dead. In every other appearance of Ridley, he's only mostly dead, but Super Metroid, he's dead. Samus killed him, Samus knows she killed him. He is not supposed to be here on this spaceship. Of course, the answer for this is that it is actually a clone of Ridley. And I'm sure Samus knows that, like, intellectually, she knows that, but she still nonetheless has the emotional reaction. At the same time, I understand people not liking it. How I would have done it is I would have set it up a little bit more. Like, I would have shown her having stronger emotional reactions to... I think I'm going the exact wrong way. To other things, as well. And maybe showing her being, like, frustrated with them, like, I'm goddamn Samus, I blow up planets for fun. I shouldn't be having this much trouble. And then that would have set it up better for her to have, like, the full-blown episode in the presence of Ridley. I also feel like they could have... Wait, did I just go the wrong way? No, I just went the right way. They also could have established some of the stuff from the manga that none of the Western audiences knew about. So, okay, for example, Other M starts off with a cutscene showing the end of Super Metroid, where she defeats Mother Brain after Mother Brain kills the baby. That's cool. That's important context for this game. Following that is the tutorial explaining the controls. That's fine. It's important to have a tutorial, especially since this is, as I said, like the first Metroid game of its kind. It's a fusion of 2D and 3D Metroid. This is new. People need to know how to play this new game. The tutorial is played out in like a blank, ugly room where some scientist guy with no name tells you, Samus, do a jump, Samus, do a shoot, Samus, do a power bomb. And then remember how to do the power bomb, because you'll need it for the end boss. It's just very artificial and, like, uninteresting. Can I make that jump that I just set up for myself? Oh, shit. God. I'm not even sure that I'm doing this right. I'm either supposed to go this way or I'm supposed to find like a hidden path elsewhere. Ah, crap, that just made the jump even harder. Alright, reset. I'm going to try it from the other side. Gameplay-related questions are rhetorical. I mean, I've played this game a bunch of times. I don't remember all the exact details. If you want to give me a hint, you can. It's fine. If I were playing a game for the first time, I would be opposed to it, but this is a different scenario. Ooh. I'm gonna let him go a little. God damn. '44th fastest in the world. Damn, that's impressive. Okay, if you want, you can explain if I'm in the right place or the wrong place to get to that marker. I will continue on explaining what I was explaining about other end. Yeah, it's a very dull tutorial. It just gets you to do all of the different things in, like, a completely artificial environment. What I think would have been cool is either the Super Metroid endgame could have been playable with all of your upgrades. And that would have been a cool introduction to the new controls and everything, while also giving you that important context of Super Metroid. Or, better yet, they could have done a flashback to Samus as a child training with the Chozo and learning to do all these moves for the first time. It's not the intended path. Okay, that's definitely what it felt like. I guess I just have to go from the other direction, huh? Okay, I'll do that. One more down. Here we go. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff in Metroid where, like, yes, you can go that way. It's very hard. And you're not supposed to. But you can do it. And sometimes the game will even acknowledge that you did it wrong. Yeah, it felt like the jump was just like one block too high. Get out of here. Yeah, so if they had shown Samus at an early age, they could have established her relationship with Ridley and with Mother Brain, because that's also very important. They could have gotten the tutorial out of the way in a more organic method, and, like, less of a fucking routine physical at the office kind of thing. And then when the Ridley freakout happens, you know, the audience would have that context of, like, oh yeah, she really hates this guy and she thought that he was dead because of Super Metroid. And it would have flowed a lot better, made a lot more sense. And it's really kind of a small change. Like, just change this one scene to something different, and all of these problems with the rest of the game just kind of disappear. At least I think they would. Now, I can't kill that guy yet. Gotta... up here. Yeah, there we go. I definitely remember that there's a secret up here. Do I remember? I think I need that enemy that I just blew up. Oh, and I need to kill these guys. I didn't need the enemy. PTSD in Other M is very accurate. Sorry, I want to read this. We have a fellow Metroid expert. We need to make use of this resource. One argument against it, Samus is a strong, independent woman who don't need a man. She's killed Ridley several times. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Now I just need to watch these little bugs eat these guys. This is what I was talking about before with that bug I told you to remember. Here's another section where Zebes is just like an alien environment going about its own business, and Samus is just kind of trying to find her way through it. I love that shit. I love that shit in Metroid games. That's one of the things I liked a lot about Metroid Dread, is that there were more environmental puzzles like that. Like, not just in the sense of, like, the game environment, but, like, an alien story environment. I'm not using good words, but I think you get what I'm getting at here. Literally have PTSD, and the thing about it is that a regular current stressful situation oftentimes doesn't have a trigger reaction until later. Yeah, for sure. I've known someone with PTSD as well, and he also said that this is, if not the best way to make a video game, still a fairly accurate representation of what can happen to people. And if any Nintendo character is going to have PTSD, it's for sure Samus. So I think that I can just carry these guys now, right? Yeah, I can use them to do my bidding. I don't need to use them to do my bidding in this room yet, but I'll remember that for later. It's an important part of a puzzle. Alright, how do I do this? Where's the entrance? Here it is. Yeah, so I, for one, didn't really have a problem with any of that stuff because, A, I watch a lot of anime, so the Japanese-ness of it didn't strike me as, like, really jarring and unnatural, because I had that. I was accustomed, you know? And I also knew the backstory behind all of those decisions, so although I can understand where other people are coming from, I never had a problem with it. So there's all of the things that people hate about Other M that I don't think are as big of a problem as they're making them out to be, even though they are still problems. Now let's get into things that I love about the game, and that make it number 6 on this list. The actual moment-to-moment gameplay of Other M is fun as hell. It's fast-paced, Samus is more agile than she had ever been in any Metroid game up to this point. She's got all of her incredible firepower at her disposal, and they added wrestling moves. Because Samus isn't just some person with a cool robot suit, right? She has been genetically augmented by aliens to... There's a thing I can get here, I think. I'm gonna go get the thing that I can get. She was augmented by aliens to be like a perfect warrior. So she doesn't need her alien robot suit in order to jump 20 feet straight up in the air. She can just do that. She doesn't need her alien robot suit to be an incredible fighter. She can just grab aliens by the tail, swing them around, and fucking hit a motherfucker with another motherfucker. It's great. And it was obviously great because they carried that mechanic through into the modern Metroid games, in Samus Returns and now Metroid Dread. Both games which are pretty much universally regarded as good by people who've played them. And I think people don't give Other M the credit that it deserves for being the originator of some of those mechanics. And like even in Metroid Dread, I may be remembering this wrong, but I think there's some upgrades in it that originated from Other M, like the AoE effect on the charge beam. I think that's from Other M originally. The seeking missiles, the like 5 seeking missiles, that originated in Prime, but I think that's the first time it was present in a 2D Metroid, but it was also in Other M. This specific aspect of it is something that bothers me in particular as somebody who loves 4th edition D&D. Also 5th edition D&D, but like seeing people say, ah, 5th edition is so much better than 4th. 4th edition was just nothing but shit, and like, you have no idea how much was ported over from 4th edition. Same thing here. Other M did a lot of good. And I would absolutely love for them to make another third-person 3D Metroid in the style of Other M. Like, give Team Ninja another shot. They've got an entire internet worth of feedback on all the things that people hated, so let them do it again, with all of that in mind. You know, use the same engine or an updated engine or whatever, and let us be awesome pro wrestler Samus in full 3D again. I bet they'd do a good job. People don't give Other because they're upset about some of the poor writing. Subjective, and I chalk most of that up to the localization, but yeah. Like how many times she says the baby. She should have just named the damn thing. Should have called it Clarence. Clarence! No. Clarence died on Zebes. This is a new Metroid that I will name Frederick. Then Frederick gets fucking annihilated by Adam. Yeah, other great things about Other M. It is one of the few Metroid games during my, 11-game playthrough of this whole series that I bothered to get 100% completion on, because Other M has a pretty good map system. Like, it shows you when there's an upgrade in a room that you've passed through, and it has something that is unique to the Metroid series. It has a post-game. After the end boss, you can return to the bottle ship and get all the upgrades you missed, and go to a new area and fight a new boss. And by new boss, I mean old boss. And here's something that Nintendo doesn't do anymore. They didn't tell you that this boss was coming back. It's Phantoon from Super Metroid, everybody's favorite goddamn Metroid game that doesn't play very good anymore. Sorry. But they brought back Phantoon as a secret bonus boss that you can fight. And it was great. It was a really fun fight. It was really challenging. You got to use all of your moves and know-how, because he's really tough, and you get to do cool wrestling moves on him. He's a giant space alien fighting outside the spaceship, and you get to run up his arm and shoot him in the eyeball. It's so good. So yeah, a lot of Metroid games are a real challenge to complete 100%, and again, this is a subjective thing, but, like, the Shine Spark puzzles in this game, for example, and in Fusion, real pain in the ass. Real finicky timing. But completing Other M is just a breeze, because in that post-game section, it highlights every upgrade that you missed. You can go and get them all. You know where they all are. And even though all of the regular game enemies at that point are nothing to you anymore... Right, I need to go up to the heat area. They even throw in some new enemies that you haven't technically fought before, and that are really tough. Like, you've gotta really know how to do the quick dodge, whatever they call it. Otherwise, they're gonna eat you alive. Alright, upsy daisy, here we go. Okay, I went all the way back up to the top, now I gotta go about halfway back down. So yeah, I will never listen to anybody who says that Other M is the worst Metroid game. I've played the worst Metroid game, and it's Hunters. Other M has a lot going for it. It'll never happen because of the terrible reception that the game received. But I really wish that Team Ninja would have got another crack at it. Would have been great. You know what? Super Metroid Remake. Fucking third-person 3D. Team Ninja. Go. Do it. Make it happen. I dare you, Nintendo. I know that my opinion matters to you, Nintendo, above all others. Go make the Metroid game that I demand. Unless you're scared. Unless you're scared of 13-year-olds on the internet who haven't even played it, probably. Is there a... I feel like I missed a... I feel like I didn't need to walk through that lava. Literally playing... Okay, yes, if you're gonna include the games that already got remade, then yeah, original Metroid is pretty rough. Actually, you know what? I'll one-up you. Original Metroid has 2 remakes. This is the second one. The first one was like a game book, fighting fantasy style game book, and is all RNG. It was terrible. That's the worst Metroid. Anyways, it was definitely necessary, but that's a whole lot of time to spend talking about one game on this list of 11 games, so I'm going to move on from Other M, confident that my incredibly correct opinion has been accurately conveyed. Number 5 on the list, this is where we get into the primes. Metroid Prime 3 Corruption. You know what? Spoiler. Number 4, Metroid Prime 1. Number 3, Metroid Prime 2 Echoes. Kind of a weird order for them to appear in on this list, but that's what it is. And I will tell you why. Sort of all at once, because these games were all made in fairly rapid succession within, what, 5 years? Let's see. Metroid Prime 2002, Prime 3 is 2007. Yeah, within 5 years. God, I wish we were getting that kind of a Metroid release schedule these days. I mean, we're supposed to be getting Prime 4 next year, question mark? Fingers crossed. The Metroid Prime series is a series of side games taking place between the original Metroid and Metroid 2. So after Samus, quote-unquote, defeats the space pirates, but before Samus, quote-unquote, extincts the Metroids. Specifically, Metroid Prime deals with a mysterious substance known as Phazon, an extremely potent mutagenic that is infesting a number of planets and causing problems, and which has also caught the attention of the space pirates, who, surprise, didn't get defeated in Metroid 1. Who'd have guessed? Not me. And they are using this to build up their forces again, to cause more problems. I think I have clearly missed a way to go. Ha. I think I just found it. Just gotta get some distance here. Oh. Okay, hold on. Aha! Gotta go that way from below. Just die, little weird fire enemy that's in every video game. Wait. I think I need to go that way, do I? Maybe I do. Try going this way first. In Metroid Prime 1, Samus goes to the planet Talon 4, which is one of the Chozo homeworlds, and is introduced to the threat of Phazon, which ends with her battling the titular Metroid Prime, a very large, very powerful, very mutated Metroid. In Metroid Prime 2 Echoes, she travels to the planet Aether, home of the Luminoth, who are sort of contemporaries of the Chozo. This fucker again. And on Aether, she finds not only is Phazon still a thing, but... Can I go in here? Nope, not yet. Nope, that's super lava. I need to be purple to go in that. Metroid Prime has survived and taken on a new form, having absorbed the data from her power suit and created Dark Samus. Chronologically the first, real-time-ologically the second of Samus's doppelgangers. Lady's really gotta take better care to not get her DNA absorbed. So, does this mean I was going the right way the first time? Metroid Prime 3 is sort of the resolution of the Phazon subplot, wherein Samus travels to a whole bunch of different planets, most notable of which is the planet Phase, origin of Phazon, where she must eliminate the vile substance once and for all. So wait, I can go this way. Am I just stupid? No, I can't go that way. Ah! I think that I can't activate this speed boost area until that guy is gone, so... either in this room, or in the room directly above me there must be a path. Guess. If I don't find it within the next couple of minutes, my new best friend Bustin' Daly can hopefully help me out. Oh, I can destroy that. Right. So, Metroid Prime 3 is the worst of the Metroid Primes that isn't a spin-off made by Not Retro Studios. Can I blow this up? Alright, where the fuck am I supposed to go? Am I supposed to have super missiles? There is a heat area up top. I guess I could go explore that. I'm gonna go explore that. While I'm doing that, somebody let me know where I'm supposed to be. Okay. Talking again about... I gotta go all the way down to the bottom. This is an annoying area to be lost in, because you gotta navigate it weird. Through all these different one-way rooms. Boom, okay. So, as I mentioned earlier, Metroid Prime 3 is sorta, in some ways, a redemption of Metroid Prime Hunters, because it uses a lot of the same ideas. The fact that Samus travels to multiple different planets, the fact that there are other rival bounty hunters involved, these are all... Okay, no super missile here. Can I get behind the Chozo statue? Oh, might do it. In Hunters, the rival bounty hunters, although they did each have a unique weapon, which you would get after defeating them, they're all just Samus, but different, because it's a multiplayer game. Whereas in Prime 3, the 3 rival bounty hunters that you deal with all have their own unique thing going on. Like, there's Rundus, who's an ice guy, and also, in some circles, Samus's, boyfriend? Depending on who you talk to. He, like, creates ice platforms like Frozone in The Incredibles. Like, exactly like Frozone in The Incredibles. There's Gore, who is like a robotman. In his regular form, he can't fight at all, but he's got like his spaceship, which he can turn into a giant mech, and when he gets into that thing, he becomes an unstoppable warrior. And there's Gandreda, who can mimic other life forms and even machines. She's like a shapeshifter. Go through the room with the speed wall you jump through. Look for fake lava. Ah, okay. So I need to go up one, all the way back down. So not this room, right? But like the big room that I had to leap through? Or was it this room? I mean, that could get me past that door. Does that lead to super missile upgrade? Oh, that's real lava. Must be the other room. This one. Oh! Yep, that's real lava. Okay, I know the room you're talking about. The big one you had to leap through, yeah. Okay, Metroid Prime 3. I know where I'm going now, so hopefully I can finish my thoughts about it. So you've got these rival bounty hunters, all of which you end up having to fight, and they do each give you a weapon upgrade, like the ice guy gives you the ice beam, the robot guy gives you the plasma beam. Yes, this is right. And Gandreda gives you the wave beam, which is electricity in the Prime series. You travel to a whole bunch of different planets, but unlike in Hunters, the planets are like unique and interesting and cool to look at. Big room, keep left until you can no longer go left, then look for fake lava. Okay. You know what? This is coming back to me now. I need to get rid of that block. Okay. So there's a lot of good things going on in Metroid Prime 3. I mean, it's pretty high up on this list. I did really like it. But there's a few things that are holding it back relative to the other Prime games, which I have placed above it. Load times, really bad. Really bad. Which becomes a serious problem because, like, often you'll be just trying to rush through a room in your way to get somewhere else. And like, oh, I don't want to fight this enemy, I'll just zip past him. Here we go. But like, you'll come to a door that won't open because the room behind it won't load. And you'll have to either just, like, keep dodging the enemy or straight up fight him, which is something that you were trying to avoid. I will say that I played the Metroid Prime trilogy, which includes the first two games on the Wii with updated motion controls and probably slightly better load times. But even counting that, Metroid Prime 3 definitely had the worst load times of the whole series. Oh yeah, I remember all these creepy vines, grabbing all these creepy bugs, like eating them. Weird. I believe this lava is also alive, but I'm gonna go to the save room first. Lots of ways to go. Another thing that holds Prime 3 back is, as I said, motion controls. Now, I played all 3 games with motion controls. The motion-controlled aiming for this first-person shooter, it was great. It worked wonderful. You had a ton of accuracy. You can, like, target one enemy and, like, shoot another enemy nearby. You had a lot of leeway in how you came at the game because of that, but Prime 3 is the game that introduced those motion controls. The first 2 Prime games got them after the fact, which means that Prime 3 is the only one that was actually designed from the ground up with those controls in mind, and they went really gimmicky with it. Like, all throughout the game, you're having to do these just annoying little mini-games of, like, pull the lever, move the lever to the right, let go of the lever. You use the plasma beam to do, like, these follow-the-line puzzles where you have to, like, solder an electronics panel, which is, like, kind of a fun thing to think about Samus doing. Like, sometimes you need to eviscerate a space pirate, sometimes you just need to fix a broken computer. Plasma beam. It's got you covered. But, like, it was... in practice, it just ended up being kind of tedious. And I didn't really enjoy doing it. I liked it better when Samus was just an uber hacker who could use her scan visor to control every computer in the galaxy. So that's why Metroid Prime 3 is the least amazing of the amazing Metroid Prime series. Not counting Hunters and Federation Force, which are both not very good. Fingers crossed for Metroid Prime 4. I remember how to fight this guy. I gotta shoot him so he backs up. This is that bug from earlier, remember? I killed a bunch of the vines that... oh no, this one wasn't tied up in vines. Let me shoot him. This'll shoot him more, so I'll use those. And now, he explode. Perfect. Now... I can spend a whole bunch of time looking for this... aha! Energy tank! Nice! Random Metroid pro tip. If you don't want to bother with 100% completion, you should at least try to get as many of the energy tanks as you can. Especially in modern Metroid games, they really expect you to have a bunch of them. Enemies will deal, like, full energy tanks per hit. Okay, next on the list. Number 4, Metroid Prime 1, the original. Metroid Prime 1 is an amazing game. It is near perfect. So why is Metroid Prime 2 above it in this ranking? I'll tell you. What's this? Gotta be something. Nothing appearing on my map. Maybe later on I'll have to escape. Okay, now we see those same giant bugs being eaten by these vines. Interesting. The reason that the original Metroid Prime is where it is partly because, you know, with Metroid Prime 2... oh, I need that guy! Ah, he's too high up. I gotta wait for him to come back around. For Metroid Prime 2, you know, they'd had more time to work with the engine. They made a few little improvements here and there. That's to be expected. Like, a sequel should be better than the originals, when it comes to video games anyway, right? That's what you would expect. Otherwise, what's the point of making the sequel? I mean, money grab, obviously, but... You know, ideally, the sequel should improve upon the original. Or at least iterate on it somehow. To have its own identity. And Metroid Prime 2 does have a whole lot of recolored enemies from the first game. But here's what else Metroid Prime 2 has. Prime 1, other than like the basic things that sort of make the game go, like the new visors and the charge combos, and like the multi-weapon system, which incidentally Prime 3 abandoned, which is another reason why it's his last on this list, this short list of Prime games. Prime 1 was very much trying to just prove that they could make Metroid. So, in terms of upgrades, other than the visors, which are like a new fun feature, and the charge combos, which are like super weapons based on your existing weapons, they're really just keeping all of the classic Super Metroid era upgrades, and just kind of running through them. You get an upgraded Phazon suit at the very end, which Metroid Prime absorbs and then becomes Dark Samus. But they played it really safe otherwise. In Metroid Prime 2, they started introducing new stuff, like... instead of getting the Varia suit, Gravity suit, you got the Dark suit and the Light suit. The Dark suit is resistant to the atmosphere of Dark Aether. There's like a two worlds kind of thing going on here, where you have to jump between worlds, and the Dark world damages you just from the atmosphere. The Dark suit takes less damage, the Light suit takes no damage. But there's no Gravity suit. How do you move in water? Well, the answer is that there is this cool add-on that you get. It's like a little turbine jet that goes on Samus's back, and it not only gives her the benefits of... There's our little grub guy that we just freed from the vines. He is burrowed and cocooned. But cocooned into what, you may rightly ask? Well, we'll never know because the way is blocked. We must return and go a different way. He's turning into a giant fly and we're gonna go fight him. So let's return to where that guy was. Here's the tunnel that he burrowed down. Here's where he was, but all that's here is the empty cocoon. So we'll go to the next room, kill some eggs. This guy grew up real fast, didn't he? Like, that took, what, 2 minutes? I think this guy might be a Metroid-level threat. Should extinct him. Yeah, so in addition to that little turbine giving you free movement underwater, it also gives you like a jet boost, so you can actually jump higher underwater than you can in air, which makes sense, really, if you think about it. Where is he? Hello? Supposed to... Oh, there he is! I had to move further to the left. There's the super missiles. Cool. So unlike later games in the timeline, this is a separate type of ammo that I have to track, and I'm kind of on the fence whether I like it or not. I mean, apparently I liked it in Prime 2, because Prime 2 also has an ammo system for the Dark and the Light Beam. Normally beam weapons do not have such a restriction to worry about. There we go. Actually, let me save. There we go. Let's see, what else? Prime 2 is also the introduction of the multi-missile. I forget what they actually call it, like Seeker Missile or something. Basically, you can target multiple enemies at once and then fire missiles at all of them at the same time. You can also use this to open certain doors that are, like, they have multiple locks on them. Get fucked. Oh shit, I need those missiles. Alright, I know how this room works. There we go. Yup! Haha! You gotta get up pretty early in the morning to pull one over on somebody who's played this game 40 times. I remember that room because of how many times I fell prey to it, let's be honest. Like, free energy tank. I think not. I guess I have the wave beam, so I could have just killed that guy from safety, but... I like to live dangerously, what can I say? The game... Prime 2 also differentiated itself in terms of... like, the lore. Because, you know, in Prime 1, space pirates, Chozo, Metroid is the enemy. They've definitely put their own spin on it, but it's all very familiar stuff, you know? And then in Prime 2, it's like, here's a planet full of moth people. Their planet is been split dimensionally into two. You have to go to the Dark World and kill the Ing. There's also space pirates here, but they kind of get their asses beat by the Ing early on, and then they just live on as infected hosts. Ooh, I'll have that. This is just a Zelda game. Yeah, kind of. People have made that connection before, that it's... Zelda games also tend to have a two worlds kind of aesthetic to them. Or like, in the case of Ocarina of Time, it was time travel, but like, same shit. Ooh, the map room. I feel like this was a long time coming. No, I guess this is a different area, isn't it? Oh, I should have gone to that other way first. Whatever. A Samus to the past. Yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. Although Samus at no point turns into a rabbit in this game. An opportunity missed, I'd say. So yeah. Prime 1 and Prime 2 came out very close together. They're working off the same engine. They use a lot of recolored enemies between them. But I put Metroid Prime 2 on top, because after having made the first one, they felt like they had room to try new things. Okay, that's the Prime series. That's numbers 5 through 3 on this top 11 list. We are now up to the two best Metroid games, also the two most recent Metroid games. Metroid Dread, which just came out, and Metroid Samus Returns, which is a remake of the Game Boy Metroid 2. So the question is, which one is number 1, and which one is number 2? It was really close. Both of these games, for context, are made by the same developer, Mercury Steam, and I have a sneaking suspicion that Mercury Steam's going to be making a couple more, because they are just knocking them out of the park. I want them to do for 2D Metroid what Retro Studios did for 3D Metroid. Which is to say, I want them to take it over. I want them to be the only ones to have their hands on it. Because Nintendo, bless them, historically, they have not known what to do with Metroid. Like I said earlier, it's always been more popular in the West than in Japan. But Mercury Steam knows what the Western audience wants. They give us our badass Samus. You know, I went ahead and said, you know, oh, other M, it's understandable why she acts the way that she does. It's not irreconcilable with her character. I still want to see Samus blowing up aliens with no fucks given. I still like that Samus. And these two most recent games give that Samus to us. It's great. They both, excuse me, build on the existing Metroid lore. So in Samus Returns, it's like this game, it's not just a remake, but also an expansion on the original. We get to see more information about why the Chozo abandoned the Metroids on planet, can I remember this off the top of my head? SR388? And we get, actually, a sneak preview in Samus Returns of what's going to happen in Metroid Dread, which is really fun. I really like that. And then Metroid Dread, of course, is the fucking 19 years in the making continuation of the Metroid series, the mainline Metroid story. It's Metroid 5. Remember Metroid Fusion came out back in 2002? That was Metroid 4. Everything else that's come out between then is just a side story or a remake. So I honestly had a really hard time choosing which of these two is my favorite. They're both really good, and ultimately it just comes down to my personal preference. Fortunately, my personal preference is also objective fact, so I guess I need a little more room. Coming in at number 2, the second best Metroid game ever made, it's Metroid Dread. Number 1 is Samus Returns. So, Metroid Dread, the plot of which is, following Metroid Fusion, the X-Parasites are supposed to be dead, done for, extinct. Ditto the Metroids. However, the Galactic Federation receives video footage of an X-Parasite, and so they send the only option they have to investigate this, some robots. The robots fuck up, so they send Samus. While trying to figure out what's going on with all these robots and the X-Parasites, Samus ends up getting embroiled in Chozo politics. Metroid Dread was a long time coming, as I said. 19 years between Metroid 4 and Metroid 5. Metroid Prime 3 came out in 2007, and that game had a reference to Metroid Dread. There is like a space pirate lore that you can find, which says, Metroid Project Dread is nearing completion. They had that shit planned. They were going to release it. But, for whatever reason, they just decided now was not the time. Maybe because I don't think Prime 3 had as good reviews as the first two Prime games. They brought out Other M, and it was a flop, like a serious flop. And then they brought out Federation Force, so like, as I said, Nintendo just didn't know what to do with Metroid. The same release day as the original Mortal Kombat. Pretty appropriate, considering some of the incredible kills that Samus pulls off. I feel like I should have more health going into this Ridley fight. Oh well. See that? She froze! This is not where you want to be! Okay, well, I didn't need that health tank. Alright, I'll keep talking about Metroid Dread in a minute. I gotta fight Ridley. Always a stressful experience. Wait, I have these. Come here, you little bitch. Okay, I missed with all but one of my super missiles, but it's fine, he's dead. I blew him up. Been in development hell longer than Duke Nukem Forever. True. We Metroid fans are hard done by. I think we also had to wait longer than the Half-Life fans, didn't we? Oh, right, I need to... Come here, you little alien bug. Yeah, secrets! Yeah, so I pretty much just need to get all the way back up to the top of the game. Speedrunning stats is to run into his body and spam missiles. Yeah, pretty much. I mean, that's how I always fight him. He's hard. That's all I know. Oh wait, I need to get all my health back, so I'm gonna get some distance and run. Dread was like... I don't know that they ever made an official Metroid Dread announcement. I think it was just like the sneaky mention from Prime 3. I could be wrong. Energy tank. Really kind of wish I'd had that before fighting Ridley, but oh well, I pulled it off. With like 30 energy to spare. Right, so, one of the things that they were really going for in Metroid Dread is the theme of Dread. Metroid has always had a little bit of a horror twist to it. The original premise of it is largely inspired by Alien. Samus, as a female protagonist, is sort of a take on Ripley, Ellen Ripley. And Ridley gets his name from director Ridley Scott. Oh shit, I was still switched over. Oh, that's fine. I'm sure I won't need those missiles. Also, I got them back, didn't I? So, how they accomplish this is through the Emmy, the robots that I mentioned. Samus can't fight them until she gets an upgrade, a temporary upgrade in each of their areas. Oh no! His head exploded. So, for each Emmy, of which there are 7? Is it 7 or 9? There's a bunch of them. You have to explore their area while avoiding them, because they just kill you. If one of them does manage to catch you, you have a very brief window of opportunity to perform a melee counter to take them out. Can I go back down there? There was a green door. And I need another thing. I don't care enough about that missile. Oh, never mind. I'm gonna get it right now. I will say, even as somebody who has played, like, actual horror games, many of which were played on stream in one sitting, because I have a problem. Alright, get out of here. I'm gonna explode you with my screw attack. The most unfortunately named attack of any female video game protagonist. Yes, even as somebody who has played actual horror games, it is genuinely tense going into an Emmy zone, knowing that the chance of escaping if they catch you is so slim. It really just becomes a run-and-hide simulator, and I hate that shit. However, by the end of the game, you've kind of gotten used to them, so it's less of a problem. And also, the Emmy kind of feel tangential to the ultimate plot of the game. Kind of like a fake-out sort of villain. Like, they feature prominently on the box art. But the real antagonist of the series is a Chozo by the name of Ravenbeak. Ravenbeak for Smash, incidentally. We only have 4 Metroid representatives in that series, and 3 of them are Samus. Give us Ravenbeak, please. He's perfect. And then you know what? Give us a Metroid, too. We've got a Piranha Plant, give us a Metroid. I do want that. I don't have a whole lot of super missiles. I think, if I remember correctly, there's a thing to do? Nope. Shoot. Damn it. Suitless section. That'd be cool. Oh, here's a point that I wanted to make about the horror theming. OG Metroid is aliens, and then the X are the Thing. There's like 2 great sci-fi horror series that are being homaged. Damn it. Come on. Now, this is tricky. Because I have the screw attack, so I don't want to destroy him. Dark Samus in Smash pisses you off? I'm fine with Dark Samus, but I just want more Metroid representation. So yeah, that's what Metroid Dread is all about. And it's awesome, and I love it. Metroid Samus Returns is, as I said, a remake of Metroid 2. The plot is that following the events of Metroid Zero Mission, and also of, I guess, the Prime series, the Galactic Federation has decided that Metroids are simply too dangerous to be allowed to continue to exist. Samus has to go to their homeworld and destroy them all. So she goes to do that, and in doing so, she learns that Metroids are not merely xenomorphs, but also Pokémon. Because they evolve. And this, it seems, is the reason that the Chozo, despite being the original creators of the Metroids, eventually had to abandon their own creations. They didn't foresee the evolution, which would make them uncontrollable. Okay, so I go up here. Throw down a save, because I took a bunch of damage there. Yeah, Dark Samus is a little underwhelming. I mean, you gotta fight the bitch like 5 times in the actual games. I'm sure they could have taken inspiration for some new attacks, instead of just making her a clone. Look at how many friggin' links we have. Anyway, Samus Returns. This remake, similar to Zero Mission, adds a whole bunch of new stuff in the form of ion upgrades, which were also present in Metroid Dread. These are special abilities that Samus can use at the cost of ion energy, which is a new resource. It's more of a mana bar than the Vancian missiles. See what I did there? It's a D&D reference. Well, I mean, it's a literature. Anyways. Need to... Yeah, I can get back there. Whoop. I thought there was another thing I could do. Is there another booster down here? Have I been misled? Guess. Okay, I lost my train of thought because I was trying to find my way in the game again. In the same friggin' area, too. So what, then, makes Metroid Samus Returns superior to Metroid Dread? It really is just a couple of things. First of all, Samus Returns has Metroids in it. And I feel like that's got to count for something. Eat these guys. But also, there's a few, like, actual factors. Metroid Dread has no fast travel, Samus Returns does. Now, some people would argue this, with me. I think that fast travel in a Metroidvania, or in a Metroid game for that matter, is fine. People got shit to do other than play your video game. If you want to have a big sprawling open world, please don't make me walk all the way across it to get the last missile. Let me go to a teleporter nearby. And like, Samus Returns doesn't even have the really game-breaking, go from anywhere to anywhere Skyrim-style fast travel. There's a handful of teleporters in each area. You have to find them to activate them, and then you can go from any teleporter to any other teleporter. The funny thing is that Metroid Dread actually does have teleporters, but each of them is a part of a two-way pair. So teleporter A goes to teleporter B goes to teleporter A, period. No, I can't get that yet, can I? Can I? No. Maybe? Oh, fuck it. There's an energy tank down there that I kind of want, but, like, not bad enough to actually go and get it. I played this game just a couple months ago. I'm sure I'm good. I'm good. I'm already full. I don't need that. What I would have liked Metroid Dread to do is, I understand that they don't want fast travel because the way the game is set up, it is very carefully designed so that without ever directly telling you where to go, the game will always lead you towards your next destination. Just by virtue of what areas it, like, dumps you into. It's like very Dark Souls-y connected map sort of thing. And it just blocks your progress off with things that you need certain upgrades to get past. So I understand they didn't want fast travel because they want to make use of that careful, meticulous game design. I respect that. What I would have liked them to do is at the end of the game, when you have all of the upgrades, and the only thing left to do is go and fight the end boss, have Samus find one final little upgrade or like a computer terminal that she interacts with or something, which allows her to unlock the teleporters so that she can use any of them to go to any other teleporter. That would be enough. that would make the end game upgrade hunt less of a pain in the butt without interfering with the actual gameplay up to that point. Would have been a great compromise. I kind of hope that they will actually patch the game. Okay, here's my Metroid Dread theory. I think we're going to get DLC. There are two reasons for this, which I will now explain. One, in one particular room in the game, there is a little specimen tank in the background with a floating shape in it. You can't see it 100% clear, but you get a pretty good look at its basic outline. And it looks a lot like Dragon from Super Metroid. The only Super Metroid main boss that has not reappeared elsewhere. Like, Phantoon was in Other M. I want to see some Dragon. And second reason, the world map of Metroid Dread has one, in my eye, very conspicuous open area in the northeast corner. Like, the whole time I was playing, I'm like, okay, am I finally gonna get to this northeastern area? Ah, shit, ah, shit, oh, shit, oh, shit, oh, shit. Whoop. Ignore that. I'm playing very legally. Super legally. Go away, you little stupid... Got thrown off by the Metroids and forgot what I was talking about again. Yeah, so there's like this whole corner of the map with no area in it, and it feels very much like they might release DLC to add a new area, and maybe Dragon's gonna be involved in it. And you know what? I'll buy it. I love Metroid Dread. I want to play more Metroid Dread. So that's one reason why I put Samus Returns on top. Another reason is the upgrades. As I mentioned, Samus Returns, in addition to having all the standard Metroid upgrades, introduces new ones in terms of Ion abilities. Metroid Dread does this also. It introduces new Ion abilities, distinct from those in Samus Returns, and also, as a fun little bonus for people in the know, the end boss, Ravenbeak, uses a bunch of the Ion abilities from Samus Returns. However, I gotta do this, don't I? There we go. However, the thing about the upgrades in Samus Returns is that they stay useful all game. You have a sort of pulse wave thing that can detect... It reveals areas of the map and detects upgrades. Missing something here? I am missing something here. Oh, shite. Got him. There's that Pulse Wave, which is sort of a utility ability. That's fun 2 words to say, one after the other. There's more save rooms, I don't need to go back. There's the Burst Beam, which is like a rapid-fire piercing shot, which you can use to overwhelm the armor of certain enemies. Like any enemy, but you need it in particular to defeat certain enemies. Oh, this is the traditional endgame Metroid refill all your shit room. There's the burst beam. There is lightning armor, which just turns you invincible for as long as your ion meter lasts. Like, you lose ion energy instead of health. Very useful. Especially for certain boss fights. Because as I alluded to previously, in these modern Metroid games, you really need to upgrade your health. You need to find all those energy tanks, because people are going to be hitting you for like 2 tanks at a time. It's nuts. The lightning armor really helped with that. It makes it feel valuable still to get those energy tanks, but you also have this recourse in case you don't have enough, or if it's just the end game and it's hard. You can use your energy to protect yourself. Or, if you're really good at dodging and countering and you feel like you don't need that, you can instead use your energy for the beam burst. And the 4th upgrade slows time. I feel like I shouldn't need to explain why slowing down time is useful. Uses a lot of energy, but it is extremely powerful. So let's compare those incredible abilities to... Oh, sorry, I was scratching my nose. I'm gonna get hit by a Cheerio. I dodged it. Am I full? I'm full, okay. So I'm gonna go back and save, just in case I get fucking wrecked. In Dread, the abilities that you have, you do still have the Pulse Wave, but it's a little less useful. Because it doesn't reveal the map. It just shows the upgrades. It runs strats, I assume. I don't know. I hate Mother Brain fights. Specifically this one. Get out. God damn. These little flat cannons that are killing me. I only need to hit her a couple more times with super missiles, I think. Oh yeah, that was the way to do it. Hit her. Hide. Alright, I'm using regular missiles so I can hit her multiple times now. Shit. Okay, that wasn't too bad. Self-destruct activated, evacuate immediately. Let me finish my thought first. Dread, ion upgrades. Phantom Cloak, turns you invisible, enemies can't detect you. Will never be used after you defeated the last Emmy. Will never be used outside of the Emmy zones, except to get through certain doors that require it. Therefore, kind of a lame upgrade. The side dash. Actually really awesome. Really critical for the end fights. Forgetting one, it was so dull. Okay, not an ion upgrade, but you get like a wall/ceiling cling ability that can be used in certain areas. Which is basically the same thing that you can do in Fusion. You can climb ladders and climb along the ceiling if there's a ladder. But in Dread, that's an upgrade. And you're never going to use that once you have the space jump. Like, there's no reason. Even if you know how to wall jump properly, you barely need it. I almost never used it. Except, again, to evade the Emmy a couple of times. There's just a bunch of upgrades in Dread that are useless by the end of the game. And I'm not talking about things like you get a double jump before you get the space jump, that's perfectly valid. That's an ability that gets upgraded to a better ability. I'm talking about things that cease to have any utility whatsoever. And Samus Returns doesn't have that. All of those new abilities they introduce are useful all the way to the end game. Another reason I prefer Samus Returns, this is also a very personal thing, the Shine Spark speed booster puzzles, I find them annoying. They're very heavily timing based, and you just end up kind of having to do them over and over again until you get it right. Dread has a few of those. They aren't as bad, I think, as in some previous games, but they're still kind of annoying. In Samus Returns, you instead have Power Bomb boost puzzles, where you... Ah, shit. You use the spider ball to cling to a wall. Shit, that was wrong. And then power bomb to propel yourself in a straight line. So rather than being based on timing, it's being based on precision aiming, and I personally much prefer that to the speed boost puzzles. But again, that's kind of a personal thing. I don't consider that an actual mark against Dread. It's just how I feel. Ah, shite. So that's the basic reason for why I think Samus Returns is the best Metroid game. It's got a lot of really cool boss fights, even if they are all basically Metroids, with two exceptions. But the real thing to take away from all of this is that Mercury Steam knocked it out of the park. And would you look at that, I got all the way through my top ranking of all the Metroid games just in time for Metroid Zero Mission to be over. We killed Mother Brain, we get to see Samus out of her suit, that's what happens at the— Oh, shit! Spaceships! They're fighting me, oh, we gotta do evasive maneuvers, oh, they're shooting at me. It's fine, I got away from them. Never mind, I'm fucked. They shot me down. That ass. The timing of my escape couldn't have been worse. I was attacked by space pirates and left nearly defenseless, stripped of my power suit. All I had for protection was my rather useless emergency pistol. Infiltrating the space pirate mothership so armed may have been foolish, but I had no choice. See, this is the cool extra thing that they added to the end of Zero Mission. Could I survive long enough to escape? And here we are going back to the horror elements in every Metroid game. All I got now is my Zero suit and a pistol. Let's fucking go. Shoot a goddamn space pirate right between the eyes. Ah. Alright. So since I already got through my entire list, and there's still game to go, let's talk about what I would do, or rather what I will do once Nintendo watches this stream, realizes that I am the best Metroid fan, and lets me make the next Metroid game. Samus is naturally jacked. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. She don't need the power suit. She's crazy acrobatic and strong all on her own. It's cool. So, going back to Samus Returns, the best Metroid game until I make mine. Excuse me. Actually, I'm gonna get some water first before I launch into this. I got a lot of things to say. Why does she still have energy cells? 'Cause of her rock-hard abs? Samus's abs are actually more powerful than the power suit in terms of pure defensive capability. She's gotta find energy tanks to make her power suit worth a damn. Oh shit! Not ideal! Oh, really not ideal. Is there a way out here? Nope. I might die. Just eat the energy tanks. Yeah, pretty much. So going back to Samus Returns. Samus fights through 40 Metroids in various highly evolved states. She gets to the lowest level of the planet and fights the Queen Metroid, a unique being that spawns all other Metroids. She defeats it, but there is one egg left, containing the Metroid hatchling, the baby, Clarence. Is this a way to go? That's not a way to go. I'm gonna get shot. I'm gonna get shot and I'm gonna get dead. Alright, I remember where to go now. It's not that way. There is one egg left, and it hatches before Samus's eyes into a little cute Babu Metroid named Clarence. The Metroid imprints on Samus, and rather than attacking her, starts following her around. Like a lost little duckling. Now, in the original Metroid 2, that's where it ends, right? There is one Metroid left, it's a sequel hook. And then it goes straight into Super Metroid. But in Samus Returns, we see that Samus just walks out through the rest of the planet with the Metroid in tow. It actually helps her out. It has the ability to destroy certain blocks that Samus does not. Wait, was this not the way? Where the fuck do I go then? Away from me. Oh yeah, I forgot they can shoot each other. Here you go, I did it on purpose to trick them. Oh, nope, not in the clear yet. Finally, just before Samus reaches her ship, Ridley appears, and she fights him, but he's tough, and she's tired because she just killed 40 Metroids. So the Metroid baby ends up helping her by draining Ridley's energy a couple of times. And then they fly off, and Samus turns the Metroid over to the Federation at the start of Super Metroid. Here's what I say to you. What if Samus did not immediately hand the Metroid over to the Federation? What if, seeing both that it is loyal to her and capable of assisting her in battle, Samus decided, let's give this a shot. Let's just have a Metroid. So I propose a game set between Samus Returns and Super Metroid, where Samus goes about her regular old bounty hunting. Oh fuck. Ouch, I got shot in the bum. Oh. Yeah, GG, Space Pirates. So the idea behind the game is that in addition to Samus and all of her regular upgrades that we're all used to, she has this little Metroid following her around, and she can order it to attack enemies or to return to her. and it's got its own little energy bar. Like, it's probably got maybe, I don't know, 3 pips on it. And as long as it's got more than 0 energy, it can help her fight. She can have it restore energy to her. She can call it back and have it restore her health. And maybe in this game, that's the only way to restore health, other than, like, save points. So instead of just killing enemies to suck the health out of them, you have to really rely on this Metroid's ability to heal you, by alternately using it in combat and then calling it back to restore you. Kind of a Hollow Knight-esque, you control your own health bar situation. Oh boy, running the gauntlet here. Sure, let's just fuck up immediately. Remove any doubt. Can't go that way. Fuck off, space pirates. Yeah, shoot each other. No honor among thieves, am I right? This doesn't seem right. This is not right. I'm in danger. Alright, then where the fuck do I go? I had to guess. I'd say I have to go somewhere. Woo! You scared me! You scared me and I screwed up! Okay, that one was my fault. God damn it. I can't stun them for very long, as you can see. Man, I'm not playing very well. And maybe as you progress in this theoretical Metroid game that I am definitely going to make one day, officially licensed by Nintendo. God, see, that's bullshit. That guy was just waiting on the other side of the door for me to run into him. Let's try this again. Maybe I can get through this room without tripping the laser. I doubt it. I'm honestly not sure if it's possible. There's definitely a few of these sections that feel like you're supposed to screw up. Oh. Guess I had to wall jump there, huh? Off, space pirates. Yep. Alright, I can work with that. Tricked him. I like the little ponytail bob when she crouches. It's good animation. Yeah, so maybe as the game progresses, the Metroid gets a little bit stronger, like it gains extra pips on its health meter. Oh, by the way, the Metroid, when its health runs out, doesn't die, it just can't attack anymore, so you have to get back to a save room to replenish it. That's how I would imagine it working. Maybe the Metroid learns new commands, or maybe it gains the ability to affect new enemies, like... At first it can only attack weak enemies, and more powerful enemies it can just distract them, but as it gets more experienced, it begins to be able to drain energy from stronger enemies too. And like in boss fights, you can send it to distract the boss to create an opening for Samus to attack. Stuff like that. There's a lot of ways that you could use this mechanic. You can feed the energy your own... Oh yeah! I actually did think of that, but couldn't remember it. Which I promise is not just me being a douche and stealing your idea. That's a good idea. I think that the game should use your idea that you just said. Ah, fuck. As for what's actually going on in the game, like I said, my idea is that Samus is sort of going back to just regular old bounty hunting. So instead of saving the galaxy, she just goes to, like, Scumbag Planet with a list of names. And just the goal to, like, track them all down, kill them, get paid. And I imagine that Scumbag Planet would have a city on it, because that's something that we haven't seen in a Metroid game before. Is, like, Samus hanging out in, like, an active, populated city. She's been in cities before, but, like, always abandoned, and she's been around other people before. In Prime 3, she was aboard a Galactic Federation ship for a little while. But I want to see, like, a scummy alien city full of weirdos. And, like, she gets there and she goes to the first name on her list, which is, like, some crime boss. Fuck that guy. Later, dipshit. I think I could have hid there, but instead I will hide here. Yeah, it's a dead end. I must have died. Go away. Oof. Oh, you cheeky fucker. Man, fuck you! Woo! I was trying to wall jump, but I screwed it up because the controls aren't as tight as in Metroid Dread and Samus Returns. I died again, go away. Ugh. Save room. So yeah, in this city, she goes to track down the first name on her list. He's some kind of local crime boss. Job of the Hutt type of motherfucker. But this guy says to her, like, hey, I know that you got told to bring me in, but look around, I built this city. Like, everybody here is loyal to me. If you kill me, they're all gonna attack you. And some of them ain't even bad people, so I know you don't want this. Instead, how about I help you with your mission, and you can help me out too? Because I also want these other names on your list taken care of. Like, I don't know, 4 names, let's say. So, like, this guy would give you some general information on where the different enemies have been spotted, and you would go out into the world and you would have to track them down, like just straight up find them, and maybe the Metroid would be able to track them by scent or something. And I imagine that you would, like, track the enemy to a specific location and then have an encounter with them, like a brief little fight, and then they would retreat, and you would have to just, like, actually track them from that point. Like, they could be in any different room in the area. And you just sort of had to figure out which one. That guy up top's gonna step on me. And not in a sexy way. Woo! Oh, that's a problem. Thank God I gained the ability to grab onto ledges early on. Haha! Fuckers. It's really funny. I think I'm pretty close to the end here. So yeah, that's basically how the game would progress. You'd sort of go through one dude at a time that you're supposed to track down, and with each one your Metroid would get stronger, and you'd find some hidden Chozo upgrades, because you always find hidden Chozo upgrades. Speaking of which, but I imagine, since we have this city that's full of non-enemy characters, it'd be cool if you could buy some upgrades, and maybe these would be the unique new upgrades of this game. It'd be something like, you know, oh, go and shoot 30 Flagglebops and bring me back their tails, and in exchange I'll give you this Chozo artifact I have. Okay, so the gimmick here is this orb shows me, so if I shoot it while it's showing me, then I will hurt for it. So I have to wait for that. But unfortunately, unlike Metroid Dread and Samus Returns, this game doesn't have 360-degree aiming, so I kind of have to be under him, or... fuck. Or at just the perfect angle to hit him. Shite. Oh. Ah! I turned at the last second! I doubted myself! You must learn to trust your instincts, Samus! That is the point of this trial! Got it. Whew! I didn't think I could do that first try. I usually have a lot of trouble with that one. So yeah, the game would progress on like this, your Metroid gradually becoming a more effective partner in combat. And eventually you track down the last name on your list, right? But as you go, and as the Metroid becomes more powerful, I imagine there would be points where the Metroid's instincts start to take over, and it doesn't perfectly listen to Samus. So, like, the fourth name on the list, the fourth guy you gotta track down, I imagine that he would be, like, a space pirate defector who's trying to start his own gang. And Samus wants to take that guy in alive, because she wants to find out, like, Ridley tracked me down on SR-388. I thought that he was dead, so what's the dealio? Where are the space pirates rebuilding their forces? But as she's got this guy at her mercy and she's about to, like, try to extract information from him, the Metroid is like, "Your food," and just eats him. And Samus is, like, trying to call him back, but it just doesn't work. It just won't listen. And so, like, I imagine Samus is like, man, that sucks, but oh well, he's a space pirate. And then she returns to the wretched hive of scum and villainy sort of city that she's been using as her home base up until now. Forgot how to use missiles because I haven't had them. Ah. That's okay, I know how to do that. And she goes up to this mob boss character to, like, hand in her last bounty, because in addition to the bounty she's gonna get from the Galactic Federation, or, like, maybe the mob boss is her original bounty and then he gives her the other ones. I don't know. Details. She goes back to visit this guy one last time before mission complete, and the Metroid is in this room full of, like, weird aliens that aren't its mom, and, like, it gets agitated, it starts to freak out, and it basically kills the mob boss without Samus's order. And then all of the previously friendly NPCs in this city turn hostile, and they start attacking Samus. And she's got to, like, escape from the city while the Metroid is, like, just taking them out left and right. and they're all attacking her left and right, so like she's got to kill them and wait for the Metroid to kill them and stuff like that. I think I want to go this way. Right, I can't just duck anymore. Ooh, that's nice, but it's not what I was looking for. And so at the end of all of this, basically Samus realizes, like, she thought that she could control this Metroid and make use of its power, but like that's the same thing that the Chozo thought, and sooner or later the Metroids are going to grow too powerful to be controlled, and that's why she ends up turning it over to the Galactic Federation. I think having that time of showing Samus bond with the baby Metroid would make her later investment in it just a little more believable. And I think it would also be fun as hell to explore the idea of a Metroid game where you have a partner, because Samus famously works alone, but it would be really cool to see that get mixed up. All these late game save rooms also refill your health and missiles, which is nice. So yeah, that's the Metroid game that I want to see. Either that or the Team Ninja Super Metroid remake. You know what? Let's get them both. Let's get a simultaneous release. I honestly think that's what they were planning for Metroid Dread. I think they wanted to release it simultaneously with Prime 4. But Prime 4 got delayed, partially because of COVID, but also because they, like, changed studios and started over. I forget who they were going to have develop it originally, but they gave it back to Retro. And that's why we've had to wait so long for it. Because, like, if they didn't have... They're still planning to release that game next year, as far as I know. So if they hadn't had to start all over and switch studios, like, they probably could have had them both out at the same time. It would have been a cool callback to the last time they released a mainline Metroid game, when they released it simultaneous with a Prime game. Would have been interesting bookends. I don't know. Well, we'll never know for sure unless somebody at Nintendo clarifies. God, just blow up, you stupid crab bugs. Where the fuck am I going? This way. Go away. These guys die in one hit, but they still do a lot of damage to me, so I need to be restoring my health and saving regularly. Which honestly is good endgame design. It's a real test of your skill. Also, we've still got a little time left before the end of this game. Let's talk about cool Metroid lore. So you may have noticed, if you've been paying attention, that in this game, even once she got the Varia suit, Samus still had the smaller triangular shoulders. Whereas we're very used to seeing her with the big, bulky... What do I... Oh, there we go. This isn't where I want to be, though. I want to... get up here to new areas, yeah. Knew it! Knew it was too good to be true. Oh, does Screw Attack also kill bomb blocks? Didn't know that. I can't go through yellow doors yet, so... I guess I want to go into this big room here. What's up here? Yes, throughout this whole game, Samus had the rectangular, or the triangular shoulders, but now, after getting her new power suit in the Chozo Ruins, she's got the more... Get out here. She's got the more iconic, rounded, giant shoulders. Speaking of shoulders, in the modern Metroid games, the last two Metroid games that have come out, her shoulders actually get a little bit bigger with each suit upgrade. Fun fact. Although Samus Returns definitely has the ultimate Samus shoulders. Friggin' massive. Bigger than her head. Like 3 times the size of her head by the end of the game. It's hilarious. Let's talk about Mother Brain. What we learn from the Metroid manga is that Mother Brain is originally a Chozo creation. She's like a supercomputer that sort of just runs their planet. But she turns against the Chozo because she believes that their peaceful ways are, I guess, inefficient or something. And so she takes control of the space pirates from Ridley. I think Ridley is the original leader of the space pirates. It's kind of speculated that maybe they have, like, other leaders or something. I don't know. There's not a whole lot of information on that. In Metroid Dread, when Samus is wandering around Chozo Ruins... Oh, can I? There we go. She also finds the control units for the Emmy. It's not explicitly stated whether these control units are Federation tech that was sent with the Emmy, or whether they're Chozo tech that were put in place to control the Emmy, because that's what is happening. But here's a fun point of order. The control units are brains with eyeballs, and they are each of them found in a room with deadly energy Cheerios and flak cannons, exactly the same as the room that Mother Brain, a Chozo construction, was found in, implying that the original Emmy could roam anywhere on the planet in Metroid Dread, but once they were taken control of, they were each assigned to one of these control units. One to control it. Give me that! That's mine! You can't use those! Fucking blow that guy up, swear to God. Power bombs, nice. That will never not be fun. More power bombs! Yeah, so these control units are seemingly to keep the Emmy from wandering freely, and also to keep control of them. Maybe they have, like, a limited range or something. In Metroid Prime 3, we see the Galactic Federation making use of what they call Aurora units, which are giant floating brain-looking things in glass tanks. Sound familiar? Almost as if the Federation was trying to recreate their own Mother Brain, which is exactly what they do in Other M, everyone's least favorite Metroid game that ties all of the fucking lore together. God damn it! When's the last time I saved? Gotta go get those power bombs again, I know that. Ugh. It's fine. Gives me more time to talk about Metroid lore! I do want that. I know I already got it once, but I need more mega missiles. Wait, this is the way I can't go yet, isn't it? Or no, there was another tank. There we go. Let's see, what's some more fun lore? Samus has like 4 dads. She has her birth father, who I believe his canon name is Rod. Or maybe that is just from the fan translation, but that's the name that I've got for him. His second dad is a Chozo named Grey Voice, who seemingly turns against the Chozo at one point, along with Mother Brain. But it was actually just a ploy all along, I guess. It turns out he is the one who donated his Chozo DNA to Samus, so that she could survive on planet Zebes with the Chozo, and also be the ultimate warrior of the universe. Third, we have Adam Malkovich, who was her commanding officer at one point, who also served as sort of a father figure to her. And finally, we have Ravenbeak, the enemy of Metroid Dread, the end boss. It is explained in that game that there are actually 2 different tribes of Chozo. The Thoha clan, which Grey Voice belongs to, who are very wise and knowledgeable and, like, researching all the secrets of the universe. They're the ones that created the Metroids, and the presence of their DNA is why Samus was able to survive the X infection that she got in Fusion long enough to receive the vaccine. But Ravenbeak of the Mawkin tribe, the warrior tribe, also contributed his DNA. So Samus is of both Chozo tribes. The Mawkins are attacked by Metroids on sight, which is why Samus is able to resist the Metroid DNA in her system long enough to get through all of Fusion before she goes full Metroid at the end of Dread. Spoilers, awesome. So, yeah, 4 dads. And also 4 times as much daddy issues as the average person. Hang on. Alright, before I fuck this up again, I'm gonna go to this save room up here. Also, going back to Kraid for a second, as I mentioned, in this game and in Super Metroid, when Kraid is defeated, he just kind of sinks into the ground dramatically. But you don't actually see him die. Metroid Dread, through post-game unlock screens, like, shows Mawkin Chozo seemingly capturing Kraid on Zebes following or during the events of Super Metroid. I believe it is implied or stated elsewhere that the Galactic Federation military was also involved during that incident, so it may be that they just captured him during all the confusion, or perhaps they actually coordinated and helped. Although that latter seems unlikely because Samus is very surprised to find any Chozo remaining alive. So probably they did it covertly, because they wanted giant alien monsters to fight. And who wouldn't? Let's see if I can get out of here without having to fight those two guys again. Yep. Perfect. Does that make the baby also her dad? No, the baby is her son. And I guess kind of also her dad. 5 dads, there we go. I think they sort of differentiate for some arbitrary reason between like a blood transfusion and using Metroid DNA to create a vaccine. It's arbitrary, it fucking doesn't make any sense. It doesn't need to make sense, it just needs to be awesome. Okay, you know what? Going back to sci-fi series, Ravenbeak identifying himself, at least, as one of Samus's many dads, right before Samus kills him, is somewhat reminiscent of the Star Wars. Well, I mean, Luke doesn't kill his dad, but you know what I mean. The wars. You know, the ones that happened in the stars? Let me just fucking... Alright, now I know how to get out of here when I need to come back in a hurry if that ever happens, which it probably won't. A big empty room! Must explore corner! Ridley bot! So this is like kind of a reference to Meta Ridley in the Prime games, where he shows up with cybernetic augmentations. Clearly they were already working on making cybernetic enhanced Ridleys. Oh, god damn it. Ignore that. Still very legal. I hate this boss. Because you gotta do, like, the jump and shoot thing. I think I am going to die. Yep. Missiles just bounce off. Yeah. That's why I saved before going in there. Let me in! Let me out! I also haven't been very diligent about collecting energy tanks, which would really help right here. Must explore entire room! If I could land like 2 super missiles. Ah, that was right on target, too. Ah, see? As long as you don't miss with the supers, he's easy. I'm sure that's nothing to worry about. Self-destruct mechanism activated, evacuate immediately. Okay, the space pirate mothership is about to blow. Fortunately, Samus is really good at evacuating planets, ships, whatever, before they blow. I think that I have to go this way. Don't I? Oh, cripes. Let's go, let's go, let's go! So the game actually showed me where I'm supposed to go. By having me go through the room on my way to get to this final boss fight. There's a docking bay where I need to get to and steal a ship. Just confirming my route. Up and around, okay. Fucking kidding me? Sorry, bud, don't have time to fuck around. I gotta go down there. Oh, don't grab the thing! Damn me for picking up the ability to grab ledges. And... go right. Seriously, are these guys gonna fucking kill me now? I refuse. Why am I doing missiles? Missiles don't help. Ah! This game doesn't have fucking autosave, does it? Of course it doesn't. See, Metroid Dread saves outside of every boss room. That's fine. I know how to beat this guy now. Just don't fuck up. Easy. So don't use up all your fucking power bombs, I guess. Need to save at least one power bomb for that room, I think. What are some more Metroid facts? Let's see. In Metroid Other M, they introduce Anthony, a character from Samus's past, who she apparently was friends with. He is not present in the Metroid prequel manga. Rather, she has two different friends, a Sasquatch and an elf, whereas Anthony is a black guy. Anthony for Smash. Just gotta hit him with like one more super. Two more supers. Or a bunch of regulars. Just open up your neck. Let me shoot you in the chest. It's a fucked up thing to say to someone. Whoops. Actually, unwhoops. I need to scratch my nose. Okay. Yeah, so I think the reason that they gave Samus a black best friend in Other M is that they thought it would connect better with Western audiences than Sasquatch and Elf. I mean, also I guess those characters kind of moved on to things besides bounty hunting or the military. I guess Sasquatch was still in the military, wasn't he? I don't know. Anyway, Anthony got robbed. He's a perfectly okay character, but people don't like him because he saved Samus from Ridley. Okay, I didn't talk about this while it was happening, and like, too late now, but after you get the 3 unknown upgrades from defeating the mirror fight, or whatever you want to call it. Okay, let's do that to make a little bit of progress. None of these guys are dropping health, which sucks. Lots of time, though, which is good, because I gotta defeat those Uber pirates. Ah! A lot of super missiles! Because I missed a bunch! These guys drop health. Ew. Drop super missiles. Okay, I got him. How do I get in here? Oh, it opens. Fuck off! I'm taking your ship. It was funny. Forgot about that at the last minute. Just some little fucking space pirate. Now's my chance to defeat Samus! Like, it got out of his escape pod to try and fight her. Oh, it's funny. These cutscenes are cool. Metroid Dread also had really good cutscenes. And Samus Returns. The two best Metroid games. Way better than Metroid Super Metroid. That was fucking 9th on the list. It's just right above the bad games. Other M's better. Pixelation doesn't even look too bad. Well, that's the thing about pixel art. It looks great if it's done well. I bet my completion percentage is going to be pretty abysmal. After you get the power bombs, that's your time to like backtrack and go and collect everything. Obviously I didn't bother. I love Metroid! I'm super excited for Prime 4. I hope it's good. I have no reason to think it won't be good. Retro Studios has a pretty incredible track record, actually. They made the 3 Metroid Prime games. Donkey Kong Country Returns is like the best 2D pure platformer. I think they've made some other things, but I'm not sure. There was a rumor that they were working on a Star Fox game. But apparently there's also, like, some kind of concerning rumors about internal politics at that company. I hope they're not turning into, like, an Ubisoft or a Blizzard or something. They make such good games. I don't want them to be bad people. I don't have to boycott another fucking thing I like just because the people who made it are dicks. Aww. It's a little scratchy drawing. That's Grey Voice, one of her dads on the right, and on the left is Old Bird, who is not a dad, but he is a mentor. Again, I love the pure black, super dramatic shading that they went with in this game. Clear time! 229.17. I think that's probably a personal record. Your rate for collecting items is 53%. That's probably a personal worst. I think the only game where I've done worse than that is Prime Hunters, where I got like 37% because I just wanted it to be done. Alright. Woo! Okay, everybody. This has been me rating and reviewing every Metroid game that counts, while also playing Metroid Zero Mission. I hope that my incredibly accurate and true insights have been of interest to you. I hope that you go out and buy a whole bunch of Metroid games, so that Nintendo keeps making them. And I hope that you'll all join me next time, where I'll be doing something probably not as good as Metroid. But it'll still be me. Remember, this is a photograph. That's still what I look like. I'll still be Kraid. Even if I'm playing Dota. Thanks again, everybody, for hanging out. I'll see y'all next time. Later.